in the DTNN2 broadcast, you know, the only broadcast that is exactly like them. As someone pointed out in the chat, and they were like, oh, why is this broadcast like morning news? And those are our favorite comments, by the way. When you ask, why are they doing this? Because we can.
Usually we ask ourselves the same questions as well. Yep. But you know, I've got an even better question. This is the 5th iteration of bait that we've now seen. Is this the one? Is this the one? And I'll tell you what, Alvaro, before you answer, because I can hear them picking like madmen, let's go ahead and step into our draft. And why don't we take a look at what we have thus far for our first game.
This is the first time I've seen Dendi make a come and watch video, so I think this must be it. He must feel like this is the one, honestly. Because otherwise, why would he make a video like this now, right? He must believe B5 is the answer, is the true bait. We'll see. I'm excited to watch him play. I think last season, the Dendi TSA combo was pretty solid. I think TSA was quite good. It was a nice addition to the team. I'm going to miss the Brazilians, but I don't think that the heroes they added to the team are too bad. Watson was playing on Magical last season. Sorry, not Magical, Hustlers, which is Magical's team.
Yes.
Watson was playing on Hustlers, and it's one of the
10 seconds remaining.
One of the new players from the eastern states, like the truly eastern states, are kind of in Asia, which is really cool to see, because that Dota is kind of blooming in that region. We see No Fear as well, kind of a staple from this region as well. So I don't mind. Though Prosti also find these were the last Gambit 2 per se. Yep. I've also found they made some nice little changes. I particularly am a big fan of the Hawk ever since I do think the guy is quite a talented player. I'm excited to watch him again this season.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I've been casting a couple of other Eastern European, Western European combined Dota 2 tournaments. I have not had the opportunity to cast this very iteration of bait. I did cast a couple of similar ones when they had a couple of stand-ins for a different tournament, and they looked real good. This was, of course, without the Brazilians. I regret to say that, but it's just a fact, right? Bait changes their rosters, and obviously the performance is going to change based off that, but they looked really darn good. But they didn't actually end up going, I believe they were playing with Koval at the time. So now I don't think he's actually on this roster. Instead, yeah, they went with Watson. And
wait, no, wasn't Koval the
5 seconds remaining?
You are correct there. Yes, now known as Fantastic Five, then as Team Tequila. But actually, I've got a quick question for you, Mr. Avo Plus, is because I remember last season, Bait finished, well, 8th, right? Or 7th. How did they end up here? I watched the closed qualifiers. They didn't play in the closed qualifiers. Well, either way, they got relegated, right?
They really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, because they finished. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Right. No, it's true. Because they took away. Oh, yeah, because they took Magical's team, Hustler's team.
I believe it is No Fears, because he is still on the squad and he is the captain and drafter. So the way it works, by the way, guys, in case you're unfamiliar, and
I was confused by that too.
That's okay. That's okay, because if you're confused, I can explain it as well for our lovely viewers. Basically, and this is something you should get familiar with in a lot of for lower division teams, especially because there's a lot more instability there between the 8th or the 9th and 16th best regions compared to the 1st and 8th. We saw this play out actually quite a bit in NA as well with that whole situation. But sticking to this one, whoever is the manager and creates the team rather in the Dota 2 website on the roster website owns the team. They own the slot. So we saw, obviously, No Fear. He merged with Dendi and the rest of Bates, and they've made this team. We've also seen it in Western Europe lower division with Creep Wave. Yes, although ITB, unfortunately, very regrettably, just at the start of the broadcast, they actually had to drop their roster, unfortunately, because of financial issues. So I think they're going to go back to Creep Wave.
Wait, do you mean High Coast? I was High Coast East.
Oh, it was High Coast. Thank you very much for the correction.
I was saying, dude, you just pick him up, you put the 2 Brits there, and then you take him out. Come on.
I know. I agree. That would have been brutal.
I mean, as a Spaniard, I'm very used to British people coming in and out of my country. Not great.
Well, we've got a draft. We've got a draft going. Prosti, we didn't see these guys either in the playoffs because this is VPP2, or now known as Prosti, which has been a stack that's been around.
No, Gambit 2.
Gambit 2, thank you, not VPP2.
Gambit 2 Electric Boogaloo,
that's right.
Which is what we called them last season because Gambit 2 was sad. And as we were correctly saying, they got dropped by Gambit right after because there's no way you call your team Gambit 2 and you don't plan on dropping them. I think it's just really sad, unfortunately, for them. But I'm glad that at least Gambit is in the first division.
Yeah, Yeah, of course, ASM Gambit didn't have the best showing at the major, unfortunately, and actually that's kind of CIS as a whole. I think, unfortunately, CIS, ever since really DP, I mean, everyone's forgotten about this because it felt like ages ago, but even before the LA major, you know, it's CIS that's the first, if you take a look at the 2019-2020 DPC rankings, which are now defunct and obviously aren't being touched anymore, the highest ranked DPC team, I believe, is either Na'Vi or VP at 14th. At 14th in the world.
Sure, they're kind of struggling the CIS region.
Yeah,
It's strong talent.
I agree, and I really hope that, I mean, this is the breeding ground for talent. And let's step into this draft a little bit. Why don't we, right? Bait are going to have last pick, so we'll keep that in mind going into this banning phase. But the Visage is a very exciting hero. His new AGs, well, not new AGs, 7.28 AGs, and his projectile speed changes. His projectile speed got doubled, which really helps for a core Visage. I'm really excited to see this here. This is one of my favorite heroes in the game.
Yeah, Solar Crest also got buffed as well, so, well, buffed at least for Visage because he wants to get it as soon as possible. The new Ags is, I think, really strong. We already saw it in the last season a bit, but it wasn't just strong enough because the carries weren't as fast. I think now Visage's carry works really one of the Hawk's better heroes as well. He used to play it a lot when it was in an cheese kind of. I think we did see maybe Lorinov play it last season as well once, but I do think Lorinov's going to be playing the Beastmaster because nowadays Beastmaster's played usually in the mid position where you can rush the Ags as soon as possible. They did change it so Ags doesn't aggro Roshan, so you don't get to do those little nifty tricks, but it's still very powerful here.
That's honestly, that's for the best.
So the Ags does aggro Roshan now, that's what I'm...
yeah, and that's for the best because I think like before with the Monkey King things, I think there's some things that IceFrog clearly doesn't want to be in Dota, and I think that was one of those things that was just a small oversight, like the Dark Willow, you know, a very small oversight. Pardon me, but I think right now Beastmaster is going through like the alternate playstyle kind of development cycle that I like to point out in Dota 2. IceFrog, he adds an Ags or he adds an alternate playstyle for a hero, and everyone goes, this is crap, I'm never going to use it again, and then he just buffs it for 2 years, and now we're at this peak stage, and it's about to drop off this cliff in the next patch, or even 7.29A of a full patch here. We'll see what happens. Same thing with Axe Carry, actually, that you've been spamming quite a bit.
I'm having a lot of success with that. I'm really hoping that's going to... But I think in the Beastmaster case, it's a bit different, to be honest with you. I feel like the Wild Axe's style was not really that buffed in the past few patches. It was just that the buff right now was ridiculous. For people that don't know why this Axe is being picked up so much, it's because now the plus 40 damage, which used to be a talent before at level 25, at level 20, they reduced it a bit, and it used to be really high at level 25, and reduced it in level 20. They were trying to make it so you could get it sooner, but now that damage buff is linked to the Ags. So now as soon as you get Ags, you're ready to go. So you don't depend on your experience as much, which makes this a much more viable build, of course. That plus the fact that Necros is dead, meaning Beastmaster players are like, what do I do? What do I do? My Beastmaster can't read anymore. He's going to be stupid. He buys a Scepter and he just throws axes. He's a true wild man. That's kind of what I mean, though, is Beastmaster, the axes never really got directly buffed, but it was always the alternate path. Like, Boris got nerfed to like 3 patches in a row, right? Necrobooks kept getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and that's kind of what I was getting at here. And now it's here, and we'll take a look. I always thought this was a really cute Ags, like, versus a PL. Every time I saw it, though, it failed miserably. So now I think it's going to be a lot stronger. They're banning mid laners, though, for them. So I assume the Beastmaster can be playing offlane. Again, the DPC for now has mostly been playing. We even see like CCNC and RTC are spamming it a lot of, particularly CCNC, because he's like, guys, my spirits got nerfed. What do I play now? And they just get in Beastmaster. He goes. So I don't know. I'm surprised that Bait thinks that's gonna be, particularly because he's not against Pugna, just because you max the act sit with those. So it's not too terrible against the Pugna. Though they are banning the more typical, I wouldn't say Pugna counters, but heroes that can survive against Pugna, like for example the Ember, who's really strong because you want a hero that can ideally be able to cut the life drain once you get level 6, and Ember do that really easily. Yeah, I wouldn't mind this Beastmaster just going offlaner and picking something like, because Prosti right now, they're like deceptively tanky is kind of how I would describe them, or deceptively tough to kill. Bane with the Brain Sap, Visage with Gravekeeper's Cloak. We don't have anything that really, I mean, I guess Tiny Avalanche melts it. Phoenix with Supernova, and Beastmaster Strength Hero, pretty strong. Which also makes Spirits, yes, tanky because of the attack speed deep. It's a pretty big deal. Yeah. But he has a fair amount of magical damage to be able to burst through most of these things, and Tiny with his large instance damage, or many instance magical damage, is capable of getting rid of a lot of the Gaker's charges. So it's not too awful for Bait, but I do agree that they have a lot of tankiness, making Tiny not so attractive. I mean, I know they're not playing as a carry, but they're running him as a 4, which is fine.
Dire team pick.
Surprising.
Yeah, and then having like catch for your Juggernaut, for your Pugna, 2 heroes that, I mean, Jug's pretty damn mobile. It would be kind of a lie to suggest he isn't, even with the nerfs to Swift Blink that were very necessary. But Pugna's not very mobile whatsoever. We did see the Pugna in our first series go for Blink. I think it's still an interesting idea this game for sure, but I think we'll probably see a little bit more traditionally just kind of magic bursty items for our Pugna instead.
Yeah, I like the Glimmer still for this match. Glimmer's particularly good against Visage. Good chase with the
Radiant team
can't
pick.
break up. Void Spirit's gonna be the last pick for Prosti. So there's gonna be a lore enough Void Spirit, and the Beastmaster gonna be running the off lane. Okay, so still I'm assuming going for the Axe build, but a bit slower than usual as we've seen in other players. It is one of Pasha's better heroes, who is Prosti Esli's new offlaner. It doesn't show here because the
10
ticket's been bugged,
remaining.
but it is Pasha and Velior. I feel like the 2 here.
Remaining.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Pasha, Velior, and Lornoff. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Lornoff ain't the Hawk. Oh, yeah, it's Pasha and Velior.
Aina.
I'm not wrong. Yeah, Aina is already there.
All right. Quite a bit here, especially versus the more mobile Visage and Void Spirit. Your birds, sorry, I should call them familiars, do get caught inside of the Pit of Malice. What's it called? A Firestorm actually melts you as well. It's great at dealing with your Gravekeeper's Cloak, especially because it lingers. Oh, it's going to be even better here. I mean, it's going to be not easy for Dahak here on the Visage. He's got a pretty tough game. He can just run at Dendi, though, and that's the beautiful part about playing Visage. He'll hit level 6, probably get his first item, and then just like look for Dendi, look for Disruptor, and just murder them. Because it's a lot like Visage is like the micro. I guess he's a lot like Lycan in the way where he gets level 6, he just presses a button, and then no matter what you do, you can usually not stop all the units running at you. Feels real weak.
Yeah, it's very true, and that's why the Solar Crest, you being able to get it sooner is much better. Even at the buffed Helm of the Dominator for a while, Visages used to love going for that build where you go for Helm as well to like get the full Lycan build, and now you have the option. Well, not buffed Helm, right? Rather, but it's better to get the what's it called? Helm of the Overlord? Yeah,
I believe it is.
Yeah, it's better to get that item nowadays because it actually has the 2 and everything. You get Ancient, so it actually adds a lot to Visage's late game, because one of the issues they add is that, all right, I'm so strong, I get my burst, Solo Crest, nowadays Ags as well, I can kill anyone for the first 20-30 minutes of the game, and then I'm done, right? But now with these Helm of the Overlord, you have the late game push, of a good way of sieging high ground. I like both drafts. I wouldn't side too much with either. It just so happens that they're both trying out really new things, so it's kind of hard to gauge how strong they'll be.
Yeah, well, I'm going to use a very high-level analysis here and just say I like Visage, so I'm going to go and put my hat in the ring for Prosti Esli for this game. Number 1.
Enough to the same offense that I did.
I respect it as well, because I think you're taking a real analytical approach, whereas I go, oh, I like this hero. But no, I mean, I do. I think they're very mobile. I think this is a very, like, run-at-you draft. Everyone actually has a fair amount of mobility. I don't know what Pasha is going to go for now that Necrobook has been removed. I'd like to still kind of see the Rasmus style. You just go for, like, Brown Boots, Blink Dagger, eventually after your first big item, which may be the Solar Crest, and maybe you save Dahak a bit of time. We'll see. I think there's a lot of interesting things here, especially for the itemization, looking at Prosti Esli.
It does seem like Pasha's going to go for the Helm of the Dominator build, which I think is fine too.
Okay.
I feel like when people, when the Necros got nerfed, everyone's like, oh, Beastmaster's useless now. I was like, well, clearly you don't play Beastmaster. Because the hero was not that dependent on Necro. The hero's strong regardless. Roar is always useful. He used to be known as like Jack of all trades hero. He can do everything. And I think Helm of the Dominator is a good replacement for the previous Necro. Instead of going for solo kills, you go for more team fight, and it suits the hero, either or.
Exactly. The hero never got bad at one thing. It's just everyone figured out he was really good at doing one thing, and now they took that thing kind of away. So he's still a very strong hero, which is why we see him. So I like that you point that out here, as it looks like everyone's decided to contest this top rune. Prosti Esli, they'll bring the bodies, though, so they will be able to secure themselves 2 runes. It looks like a piece, but Watson, he's immediately across the river, and I think that'll be 3 for bait.
Oh, that's pretty bad. The loss of the early runes. Now, much easier for this to happen, by the way. It's no longer the special shenanigans where you have to like do a special incursion and try to... You're fighting right in the middle of the river. So it's really about whoever has a stronger level 1s is quite favored in this part.
Yeah, I really like the change, to be honest, that the runes now spawn there.
Back
because
to the
before,
old style. Huh?
Yeah, because before when it was like, when people started invading again, when they made it nighttime, it felt like it was random. Like, oh, we'll just guess, we'll go this way. If they're here, we'll kill them. If there's 5 here, we'll have a 5v5 fight. If there's no one here, we just sit awkwardly and swap runes. I like this one. It's a lot more fun to engaging.
In CIS, though, it was always somehow they found the 5v5. I never saw them avoid each other. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think there was a gentleman's agreement.
With the Tusk, they would just invade into the enemy triangle.
Usually it was like dire triangle. I felt like was always like the mean spot or Radiant here. It was always bottom. You're totally right though.
Yeah, because the dire triangle was much easier to invade previously, especially at level 1s, because you couldn't set up the wards yet. If you set up the wards in the off, that felt really weak, right? So you had the advantage there. Nowadays, it's been really changed up. I would say the hardest to invade actually is now the Radiant jungle. Sorry, it's easy to invade because it's hard to hold that position. Unless you spend like 5, 6, or sorry, 2, 3 wards on the, which usually.
Yeah, I'm just incredibly happy we got my much anticipated map change. I think it's awesome watching pros kind of deal with it. I think in the early couple of weeks here of the DPC, when everyone's still playing pubs 10 hours a day, figuring out what the OP ward spots are, we'll see a lot of people fervently defending wards, and then eventually it'll be a little bit back to normal. But I think this patch of the meta is super, or this part of the meta, sorry, is just really, really fun to watch, especially if you play a bunch of support.
Yeah, exactly.
Belhior? He's gonna have to TP away.
He's gonna die in the top lane though. DSA just got caught out with a little bit of that soul assumption. Usually not that strong against Tiny, but since Bane and Visage both have decent attack damage early, you take advantage of the 0 armor on the poor Tiny and you just wreck him. Usually Tiny's good against magical damage burst for that reason, but not against heroes that also have good stats to go with it. Particularly Bane, which I think was one of the better 5s in this patch, actually, because he can fight really early. He works really nicely to get kills for the carry, which tends to be the case. And the small buff that he got, particularly to the Academy Shard, is...
We will not forget this.
That new shard is much more... Because now it gives you the one thing Bane was lacking, which was to push. And as a 5, it really sucked that you're like, guys, lane is pushing in, you have to call someone else to help you out. Now you can just buy shard and push it yourself. And it's not like Bane needs many items, so it's fine. It's not a huge waste of gold.
Helps him scale as well, right? Because it can allow him to farm. Obviously, as a support, it's for deep pushing only. It's not for taking waves, but we all know it's for farming too. It's for farming.
Exactly.
But,
I mean, it's fine. Deep pushing is farming. It's the same thing.
But you're totally right. That's what the hero needs. He's single target king. Now he's got a little bit of... It's like soft Lich, not ulti. It's Lich Frost Blast, you know? It's decent. Nothing to write home about, but Aina at least can be happy that he scales a little bit better outside of, you know, the 10 to 20 minute range. He might... No, he's fine. He's fine. Tiny only still level 2.
Bane has great stats, by the way. Tiny struggles against them. Bane has nice armor, so usually you can't mow him down with the auto attacks, because Tiny also struggles to hit anyone. And with the magical damage, because Bane also has a relatively good strength gain, particularly for an int 5 support, it's kind of difficult to burst him as well. So it's a really nice hero to pick up against heroes like Tiny. Heroes like actually Visage. Bane does pretty well against him for that similar reason. And the pure damage is good.
Yeah, plus I actually kind of like this lane combination. 2 ranged, great stats like you're saying, deceptively tanky, and Brain Sap just synergizes so nicely with Soul Assumption because it's just free charges. Free charges. Here he's going to race to the rune. Dendi is going to get an assist out from the Avalanche. He's going to decide to deny it. He's going to get a Bane tossed onto him, but he's actually going to lose out on the water rune at this rate. So Einit still trying to beat him to the rune. Dendi going to deny a second one. In the meantime, I will miss the kill down bottom as Pasha will get aggressive versus No Fear. Belhior, though, already having committed the Icarus dive, trying to juke Watson. That just brings him up to the high ground, and it'll be a 1-for-1 trade.
That was hilarious. Aina wanted one thing, and it was just the runes. Like, he was going for runes, he was not fighting there, that was it. And actually, he goes up top. Tiny's not here, so help with the Underlord out. Can they body block him effectively? The creeps are helping out in the body block, and they're going to get him with a Soul Assumption. There's, like you said, right, the free charges for the Soul Assumption with a Brain Sap. Super easy, and that guarantees the kill Underlord, who, for an offlaner, has just an okay strength gain and tends to struggle against this high magic damage lineup until you get the Hooded Defiant.
And that unironically happens because Aina rotates around. Tiny has to run back home, TP in with the Fountain buff to refill Dendi's bottle. It's that important. I mean, I know they added these water runes to try and make it not as important, but it has also the unintended side effect where if you have an empty bottle versus a 2-charge bottle guy, it's really tough to play that lane as well. So it's a really important move. Tiny's gonna go bottom now, where Pasha is currently getting spun down. The Light and Avalanche on top, stuck inside side of the kinetic field, which Belhiro will Icarus dive on through with the Fire Spirit's attack speed slow. Pasha will summon another boar. Watson decides he'd rather have some wild pig here, and he's going to go and give the kill to Pasha to No Fear instead, and he'll just right-click the boars to death.
Oh, that was a really nice kill by the Beastmaster. Well played there. It was a bit odd that you casted the kinetic field for so long. Didn't try to
mid lane.
at all. Oh,
Yeah, Dandy could be in trouble. Tried to go just for a little cheeky life drain, but the Avalanche is actually going to save his life. We do not have another Astral Step, as that's why Dandy went in the first place. He saw the Astral Step used aggressively and decided to go right back in for it.
TSA realized, he's like, all right, guys, I messed up top. I let my Underlord die because of that whole little play. But then he manages to mitigate that by getting a kill bottom and then rotating mid, saving your mid laner. That's really solid, honestly. So well played by TSA. Good way of turning say a bad play or a bad rotation, bad situation into a good one, as he now can sap experience mid. Something quite important for a tiny 4 as well.
My major concern, though, is Dahak is kind of, sorry, Dahak is basically having a free lane up here. And he's, Dahak is level 6 as well. Out come the birds. We'll see what they can make of it here. They're just going to send him in immediately. Here's Bane from behind. I think he is dead. And this is what I was afraid of. He was going to have a super early level 6. BM voice lines mid lane, though. They counter gank onto Lorinov. He's got an Astral Step and Assimilate, 2 stick charges. He'll be fine.
I can't tell he's only silver tier Visage because this last patch was so bad, or because he hasn't bought Dota up to levels. Because the Hawk used to be quite a well known for this kind of. It was funny because NIP, like, they dropped the Ace and they brought the Hawk. It's like, well, same playstyle, same weird heroes, same micro stuff.
Ember Visage, you know, in the safe lane. Taking mid laners into the safe lane. We have another
play Arc Warden as well, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah. Ace is a really great Arc Warden player. Nice micro by Pasha, sniping the healing ward. Free 75 gold for him. That'll get him closer now to the Helm. It's a bit more expensive on the recipe, but 500 gold there. So he's very quickly making really good progress. The Hawk, he is going to be going for an Orchid by the looks of it.
Okay. Interesting push. I mean, I guess the Orchid now is quite cheap, so it doesn't work badly for a Visage, right? I can see that. Particularly good against Juggernaut, who nowadays we've seen most Juggernauts still go for the Battle Fury build, so Manta style won't come anytime soon.
Capture on. I can't stun him.
He's learned his lesson, though.
Well, oh my goodness, they almost got him. I actually think it was maybe a bit of a mistake to land the birds there. Maybe if he just kept auto-attacking, he might have had it. I'm not sure. I mean, he is an expert. What is the damage at level 1? 60 damage compared to the auto-attacks. It would have been close. It would have been close, but I'll just assume he knows best, and that's the way to maximize the damage. Belhior, though, he's got Icarus dive, no chance to use it. 10 stick charges couldn't get him off either. He's going to be just collapsed on there by TSA, who's making a lot of decent moves on the Tiny. That's only his second kill he's been involved in, but feels like he's making a bit more space. But the top lane is really where he's not been able to do much.
Yep. They haven't been able to push either because of the tier 1 offlane nowadays gets pushed a bit earlier, but Underlord has just been putting his body in the lane. He knows, right? He has to prevent the Visage from getting an early push, and at least, even if you die a bunch, you're not going to let the Visage have the map control. And then hopefully you can mitigate this by using a Pugna mid and try to do the same thing in the mid lane tower. And Pugna has a much safer push, so it usually is easier to take this tier 1 tower without committing too much.
I will say the only thing I'm concerned about right now for Prosti is our supports, who both have fantastic level 6s, among the more better ones in the game, are kind of struggling for experience at this stage, both clocking out level 4, but a kill up top lane would certainly help Ina quite a bit. We'll see if he can try and go for it here. Stahak's going to go ahead and just fly the Familiars through the Pit of Malice. Another Firestorm. He'll continue chasing. 2 points only in the HP Aura. He's got Vanguard. That's why he's taken almost no damage.
Yeah, it's a good pickup against the Visage, but Soul Assumption still deals damage to that Vanguard. And he's like,
goodness.
well, he wants Hood, he wants Vanguard, and still in the end they chase him down. That sucks. No Fear dying in the bottom lane as well to Pasha, who already got his Hamel the Dominator, and will be able to get a kill with that Centaur. Still no boots build for the Beastmaster, though. Creeps before boots is the name of the game for a Beastmaster.
Yeah, absolutely. For him, Dota 2, it's become the Master of the Beast. He's already got 3.
Warcraft 3.
Maybe you can count the... Yeah, you can count the Phoenix in as well. I think if Pasha says go dive, he'll probably listen. Are they going to command that
Who
now?
needs a shard when you have a Phoenix to dive?
He looks like one of the shards, doesn't he? Or one of the axes. Careful though, TSA yet again just hiding in this position. Out he comes with the Haystern active now onto Velhior, but he knows that he can't really kill him because of the Icarus dive. Pasha wisely just gathering around the boys there to make the toss, if not impossible, much more difficult. And that was for the best because No Fear had TP'd in right after consuming the Total Knowledge. Level 6 in hand, ready to go.
Alright, so they're putting pressure bottom yet again, because they have a Beastmaster, so you take advantage of him being relatively static as a laner. So instead of having him rotate like a lot of offlaners are doing these days, you try to just use the catapult and take this tower as soon as possible. Bane is really close to level 6 once he gets the kill against Juggernaut, should be relatively easy. But well, that's why Tiny and Disruptor are here though. That you have a way to cancel Fiend Script. You don't want to get caught by surprise. Bane's been off the map for a while. You don't know what
Lornoff is going to try top. You again, says Dahak, because this is probably another kill. Yeah, indeed it is. Yep. See you later. My goodness.
Limitless.
That is only 2 points, by the way. Oh, they've denied the tower already. That was going to be for the... Oh, then he got the tower mid lane. Apologies. And Static Storm is going to whiff down bottom, unfortunately. We still have Omni Slash. Watson, careful here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Now, they just don't want to lose this bottom tower to the Beastmaster. They want to make sure that he's not an effective pick, and that's why I think Dendi is going to rotate here as well to punish it a bit. He has Primal Roar though, and they do have Super Null plus Fiend Script, so all your ultimates are ready to go.
Aina has managed to sneak into these trees. He smoked it in there, so they don't actually know. Well, I think they know. I think Watson's pinged him, so I think now they know. Dendi ready to connect here with the rest of his team, and TSA smoke as well. He did take the point and grow, so he's going to be right-clicking for a bit more damage. Lornoff just holding a defensive position. He's going to actually be going for the Aghanim Scepter first item. TSA snagging away the Invis Rune. Lornoff going to be a little upset that he can't refill the bottle, but otherwise he's alive, and that's more than you can ask for against a Tiny with an Invis Rune. It's a very deadly combo.
Structures are fortified.
The Tiny though did not go down bottom, which means the tower is kind of dead to rights, right?
Yeah,
There's the Juggernaut leaving. He's like, nah, I guess you're sacrificing the tower. I'm not going down with it. But Exchange, Underlord is taking the tower pretty much on his own, as the Pugna still puts pressure in the mid lane. In fact, Tiny, they see Aiden. Oh, went to the high ground. Impossible. What do we do now? There's the Gurify, the combo from the Tiny. Avalanche starts, kills Aiden.
With Orchid already finished, and what can Dendi do here? Absolutely nothing is the answer. Down he goes. Lornoff gets the kill. Ooh, that is a pretty nicely timed Orchid there for Dahak with boots as well, so he can even actually keep up and cast his own spells to help the familiars out here. They will exchange tier 1s but yeah, unfortunately just didn't scout the Visage there.
Yeah. Well done there, honestly. Good rotation by the Hawk. He understands that if you're playing this kind of carry, you need to be much more active around the map, right? Juggernaut can play a bit more defensively, go for his farm, passive Visage. You want to play around your team as much as possible.
Absolutely.
You lost your Bane there. It sucks because you haven't seen still a Fiend Script kill, and early they tend to be easier than later, where everyone has ways to cancel it, but do what you can as a Bane.
Yeah, you do what you can, and I'd be curious to see his itemization as the game continues. We've seen a couple Banes, especially in lower division for Season 1 here in the Eastern European. I think Antoha likes to pull it out, who is going to be back, by the way, on Trident Clan this time around, despite being removed from his old team, which now goes by Fantastic 5. That'll be a fun grudge match between the two. I'm not sure when that one's taking place off the top of my head, but make sure you guys tune in for that one. So we've got a lot of Bane players here in lower division, so I'm really curious to see, you know, what it's going to come out to. As far as the builds.
Player. I think you said we have a lot of bait players because that's also true.
I mean, yes.
Half of the lower division is at some point.
That is also true, but I was going to say we have a bunch of Master Bane players, and really Dendi is he's the only Master Bait player, isn't he?
I get it. Nice job. So that's a Shakespearean joke, by the way, guys. In case you ever think that's low, that's actually Shakespeare made those jokes. Romeo and Juliet. Anyway, tower in the middle lane, that's going to fall to the Hawk. Yeah. Familiars allow you to push relatively well now once you have enough farming Orchid to cover them as well. And there's not much you can do. It's not as secure as the Pugna push, but it's close to it because the Familiars can die. And since you have them off cooldown, you're okay with them dying right now.
Yeah, you'd be okay with it. It kind of sucks because you're about to hit level 12 and have level 2 familiars. We'll probably see Dahak. You do two things on the Visage. Either you sacrifice these guys, you run them in, basically use them for the summon 2 more, which actually do damage, and then use those to kill, or you just summon them immediately if you want to keep farming. We'll see what he goes for. Right now, though, they're going to be able to dodge an aggressive movement out from Bait as they set up some vision in the enemy jungle, farm a little bit, and otherwise just have a nice vacation here as it turns into nighttime. I know, though, he's not having a very fun time.
Oh, the courier might spot him. Oh, he's like, no, I saw something flying. He's staying here. He's hoping for the Fiend script as he's baiting, I think, with Velior?
He is. Velior, though, going to get disarmed. Tiny cannot close the gap. He's 800 gold away from the Blink Dagger. Nice little Sunray off the mat. Very nice and balanced. You can try and throw the Avalanche, but he is far up the mountains, Tiny.
What is over the mountains? Tiny asks his carry. Nobody knows.
I only roll down them. Oh, they might have found Limitless here. I know. He's got Fiend Script ready to go, but Lornoff with the DD rune is not going to want to go for it because the scam does actually scout No Fear, who's holding a nice high ground position. Again, we've not seen a Static Storm yet either. Oh, we have, pardon me. We've not seen a Static Storm hit a hero this game yet. Let me correct myself.
That is true. We saw like a zone out Static Storm earlier. That was it.
All right. Birds have been resummoned, so we're not going to try and use them aggressively for the cooldown on the stuns. Instead, we're going to use them to siege with the 2 boars, the wagon, as well as Pasha.
All right. I guess the Inner Beast also helps your as well.
That's real
okay,
nice.
so there's quite a lot of synergy. Dahak really seems like he knows how to play the Visage here. The whole team around him. Aina in the top lane finally gets caught. I think he's been living here for forever. They help him to Gravify. No, they're going to kill him with another blast. Lornoff tries to get away. Another Static Storm. Does not quite zone at Lornoff, though. And Limitless, he's learned. He sees there's something flying. Doesn't know if it's the Visage or the Phoenix. Decides to retreat before the Visage can join the fray. Limitless, he has that muscle memory from the top lane. He does not want to fall to Dahak again.
Yeah, he knows. Otherwise, he's going to get hit with the "you again" voice line. He's had enough of those this game. It does feel a little bit bad, though, because you got some really good damage onto the tower. It's less than half HP now, but you did lose your own tier 2 bottom. Your mid lane is extremely pushed in right now, and we have level 2 birds up for our Visage. We have Ags. Not quite soon enough. 700 gold away still. Lornoff, he might be able to farm these up relatively quickly. My point I was bringing up is top lane was going to be deep pushed by Prosti. Mid lane was at your tier 2. Bot lane was at your tier 3. Your map is super constricted and you all just ultied all the way back home. Like, you just gave Prosti so much freedom. Like, where are we going to go, boys? We can smoke, go basically anywhere and try and catch someone. And now they're going to try. Let's see what they can find because Bait's still quite constricted overall on their map movements. Lornoff does not have Ags yet. He's just 150 gold away, though. They're not going to wait for it.
Yeah, they're gonna let Juggernaut just leave for now. They don't. The smoke was hoping to catch Jug. We still haven't seen a Fiend script this whole game.
Correct.
It's starting to be a bit too late. Like usually the advantage of the main, at least in this patch, is that you can use the Fiend script particularly early, get early kills with a constant fighting. Instead, Bait has been able to evade him for the most part.
Smokes are breaking. No Fear, holding the front lines. They've caught a Phoenix.
Okay,
committing the Static Storm here, but do they have the damage for the kill? Out of the Firestorm, nice little Nightmare to dodge a bit more of the damage. Pulled back in, actually got the Supernova off. TSA doesn't want to be anywhere near here. And that's fine, because he can just walk away. Dahak bringing in the birds, though. Life drain out from Dendi. Good guy Dendi, keeping the boys alive as there's the roar onto Watson. Couldn't get off the Omni Slash, being stunned up by Dahak and the birds, even the mech. It's not enough healing that came through from Limitless. They will at least be able to snipe Velior in the meantime, but that's not really... thank you.
They had the Fiend script. It wasn't the birds, it was just the Fiend script. I loved it because like they threw the Primal Roar and the Fiend script at the same time. It was like, Juggernaut's dying. No matter what, Juggernaut is dying today. And finally we saw a relatively impactful Fiend script, and it wasn't a bad idea. It does seem like they stacked stuns, which of course feels a bit bad, but because they wanted that security to kill the Jug and they know how important it is to stop his farm, it's completely justified. Because now the Hawk, being the strongest hero in the game, honestly, is very close to his BKB, and he's not going to be too phased by the Pugna, who is really the best hero on Bait right now.
Well, of course, because it's Dendi.
Well, that, and because he's also the most farmed, and Pugna's kind of as a peak utility right now. But yes,
of course.
It's mostly because it's dead.
Especially because he's not level 2 as well. Or sorry, he's got level 12. So he's level 2. Life Drain is what I meant to say, so it's a lot more damage for him. Watson tried to get in there with the Omni Slash. The fight looks very different if he does, so it's very good for Prosti that they actually commit more than enough lockdown there. You know, I think Pasha's probably used a roar, but you know, no Fiend's Grip yet. He was just itching to use one and just let it fly. Speaking of flying, nice little Icarus dive away from the Pit of Malice. Going for the Soul Crest next for Limitless on this Underlord after the Mechanism. So he's a tanky boy, but doesn't really have a lot in the catch department. He's going to be relying a lot on the Tiny or for No Fear to actually pull them back into his Pit of Malice.
Well, they take the tower here. At least a tier 2 take it down. And as they're Dire, I actually really like their movements because Dire does have to prioritize the mid lane a bit more. As I mentioned, defending the Radiant jungle and completely taking control of it is a bit difficult in this patch. So you see less warding around that area and more warding around the mid lane, which is much more rewarding for Dire, who wants to keep the pressure going. So they have studied the map changes pretty well. They killed the Disruptor as well on top of this, the double silence. Nothing No Fear can do. Dendi will just immediately TP. They have the Ether Remnant to do. Oh, Dendi. Because it is Dendi, he manages to TP right in time, even though the Ether Remnant would have caught him usually. But
absolutely.
That's why you picked a super meta.
That is absolutely why you do it. My goodness. That was a close one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me run that one back. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, speed it up a little bit. Look how close this one was. He was close.
Oh, he was there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. I thought he had it. I would call a line judge for that one. I would say, Ice Frog, excuse me, something's broken here.
Yeah, I would agree. But you know, then he gets away. Super happy about that. Losing No Fear is not that big a deal. And we did see this game. No Blink Dagger on the Pugna as opposed to the last game. We're going to see Aeon Disc, which is always useful. Oh, sorry, Octarine Core together with the Yule Scepter, which Yule Scepter is fantastic. They need more ways of canceling the Fiend's Grip. Even if it only came once, everyone's already thinking about the potential damage that ability can do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just too risky, and now they got to be very aware of it. As with Aegis in hand here for Lorinoff, he's going to be very aggressive. Does need to mind his cooldown zone, like his Storm Spirit. As looks like they're going to be able to catch TSA for trying to cut the mid wave. Left 2 creeps with them. Is this the Aegis you go high ground with? It seems a little early, but there's only one tier 2 left, and Pasha's already, you know, heading in that direction. Creep wave's already pushed. What do you do with this Aegis?
I think you finish off the last tier 2, and you might be able to go high ground. You have Solar Crest and Visage, you know. So
okay, and
Solar Crest,
Master, yeah,
exactly. Also Beastmaster. Yeah. And I really like the build for Pasha, by the way. When I first saw the patch, I actually didn't think of the Axe build at all, which was been really popular. I thought, yeah, it can be a thing. Oh wait. There's a play here by Aine. He does have the Fiend's Grip. Nightmare first. He's looking for a bigger objective with the Fiend's Grip. It's Dendi. But Yule Scepter stops the Bane. Instead, Disruptor dies. They have Fiend's Grip, but they can't catch up to Dendi. He knows the new juking spots.
He was out just in the nick of time there. As once again, top lane. Oh, the roar onto Watson with a stop to follow up from the Centaur Conqueror. They even catch TSA here. She's going to be managed to toss up the Centaur Conqueror. They're looking for more, committing the Supernova against probably 2 of the worst auto attackers in the whole game. TSA will be stunned by the Supernova. They actually even catch Limitless here. Another Centaur stomp there to secure the kill onto the Tiny, and that's going to be a very well utilized roar for Pasha. Creep wave conveniently pushed in, and I think this is going to be a nice push here for the high ground. Pardon me, folks. We just need to get Alvaro back into the TeamSpeak here, and he'll be right back in. Unfortunately, just having a small issue with the communications here, but we appreciate you guys tuning in anyway. The Hawk has got a BKB. I just sent him a quick message.
Is under attack.
As he's going to be looking to show that one off. So a fresh 9-second BKB. So much muscle memory of saying the 10-second. But this tower is not going to even last 10 seconds. Down it goes here as Pasha finally gets some personal time. As there's Avo now back. At the same time, though, Lorinoff will get tossed back in onto the high ground in the Pit of Malice, but just is not enough catch. Hello.
I was actually going to say that, as you saw the Beastmaster being super impactful, that when I first saw the patch, actually, this is the build I was thinking of. The Solar Crest, like cheap items with Solar Crest, Blink Dagger, Helm, maybe of Lads if you haven't just been that old utility Beastmaster with a bit of push. I still think this Beastmaster is perfectly viable. I would even call him one of the strongest offlaners in the patch still.
Yep, silence.
We'll see a bit of a snipe here against the Tiny. They have no stun. I don't think Tiny can get away. And Aine says, mine, and takes the kill with the last little brain sep.
Yeah, it's starting to look a bit difficult. It feels like they I don't even know how you manage to start these fights. Like your lineup, especially with Disruptor, who even with his buffs just feels so bad to play from behind from. Like you need to bait some overextension of Prosti and then bring them back with Glimpse, and then you kill that guy and run down the rest of them. Like it just feels like I struggle to find a really another way. I mean, I guess we have Tiny Blink, so there's always potential there, but he's already shown it off, and well, he's been killed immediately with it. And now I've got a BKB for Lorenov, so as well as the 9-second BKB freshly purchased for the Hawk, who's going to be going back for the Aghanim Scepter. Beautiful Ags, silent as the grave, super strong. It's great for sniping backliners like immediately. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also, I love that the name of it is Silence the Grave is absolutely fantastic. It goes back to the old Necrolite, it was called back in Dota, which was much more of a ghost kind of like hero. It used to be the Dead Wyvern as well. That was the model for it, like Ghost Wyvern or whatever. It was a model in Warcraft 3. It was wonderful, really cool. And yeah, the Visage, I think it suits him so well because it suits his timings. And since the Master went for Solo Crest, you're also able to afford an earlier BKB, go for the Axe, not having to wait for the Solo Crest, as you mentioned in the draft. Like your draft is hitting its complete prime right now.
Yeah, I actually wonder if that's the reason we'll be seeing more Visage, because Solar Crest is so cheap and it no longer gives you as many stats, so it feels like, do I really want to purchase this on a Visage now if I can just yell at my offlaner to buy one, or even my support position 4 or 5 to buy one instead. Saves him an item, it's still effectively the same. Pretty generous cast range on the Solar Crest as well, so it's not like you have to have a Blink Dagger, but it's even better when Pasha does have one. So he's going to just continue split pushing, and I imagine we're just going to wait for the Sags for Dahak, and maybe look to snipe someone on the back lines. You can sneak very easily into the base of someone and then just jump the back lines, have the rest of your team then rally in behind you, and usually that's a good way to reveal the eggs. It only works once though, because then after that they set up sentries.
Exactly, yeah, but it does work the one time. You also have, by the way, Shard on the Beastmaster, which allows you to do the dive bombs, the Hawks. Those got buffed considerably. So before, the Shard used to allow you to move the Hawks, which is the biggest thing. So it was a nice little vision Ags. But now the dive bombs are a bit stronger, so because you have the 2 full second stun, fair amount of damage, reduced cooldown the Hawks, which means sacrificing them actually feels worth it. So I kind of like the new Shard on Beastmaster.
Oh,
it adds to the high ground teamfight component. Yeah, that was... I think he calculated what Beastmaster was, but he miscalculated rather.
Yeah, he did. He kind of got in his own head about it, I think, right? He was like, he's going to make this movement, and I'll blink on him right here, and it'll look sick on the replay. And, well, I don't think it will, unfortunately. But, yeah, I mean, they at least stop him from pushing, put the Fear of God onto Pasha. He's going to... Well, he doesn't actually... He does TP away, but now he's back. Just to push the Juggernaut back out, but it feels like Bait are slowly but surely just kind of getting asphyxiated here like this. Like the Stranglehold is only going to get stronger and stronger, especially with this Visage Axe now. Here's going to be the first cast. Flying movement, no longer Flying Vision, thankfully. That was a little bit too strong, but Flying movement for you and the boys. You do an additional 35% damage. Sorry, 30% damage for 4 seconds.
Once you
last 35 seconds. Yes, once you're revealed by any method, by the way. Yeah, it's really nice. So we'll see. This is again, this is the biggest opportunity for him. We do have sentries in the base though. Decent coverage, I will say. Yeah, really good coverage actually. So No Fear knows. He's probably played a couple pubs against the Hawk and goes, absolutely not.
We'll see. Right now, it just needs to last this, right? This is the final peak that you have to survive against, and if you manage to at least hold your own against them, not too bad. You have a lot of ways of defending high ground with Pugna plus the Underlord. And this late game doesn't look too awful against you if it wasn't because Jug is completely countered by the Beastmaster and Bane, which makes this kind of 4 protect 1 idea that you seem to be going for just because you don't have enough map to farm, rather. It's very difficult.
What? It's just... sorry, the Hawk is just threatening them with the voice lines, but...
It's the only one he has, because he's only silver tier. What is this? One of your better heroes, only silver tier?
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. Maybe he can't play it on his main account, because it always gets banned against him. Who knows? Oh my goodness. It's been forever since I've seen glitched Tiny with this cosmetic. Back in the days, TI 8-9.
He really hates the Helmut Dominator creep. He's done this twice to the Helmut Dominator creep.
He also really hates Watson getting farmed because he just took the whole entire way from him again.
I mean, to some degree, let's argue it's better to divide the farm so your Jug doesn't have to carry this alone.
Okay. You know what? I'll accept that. I'll accept that one.
Because you have really good anti-carries in the enemy team, right? Bane and Beastmaster are heroes that are particularly good against the 4 protect 1 strats because they have well, BKB piercing long stunts, and there's very little your team can do besides building save that can help you out against particularly the Primal Roar, because you can at least cancel Fiend's Grip if he doesn't have BKB. You won't be able to cancel the Primal.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's not gonna be a great time here. No one's able to farm the money for the Lincoln Sphere either. Dendi, by the way, has not decided to finish the Aeon Disc, went instead for the full BKB, so he did manage to find the 4K gold because he's kind of just been, you know, getting filter fed, if that makes sense. You know, one wave here, one wave there, walking around, you know, pushing it from a safe distance. And Prosti, they'll keep farming as well. They're just, I don't even think they've been on their own side of the map here for well, probably something like 10 minutes since that second Roche, or first Roche actually. Oh, but they've got Ainet. All right, that's a kill you can take. Here for the counter initiation. Dahak coming from the side, and he's enough to just scare them off. Will they have the damage for Ainet by themselves? Doesn't quite look like it, unfortunately. But well done there to respect the damage that Visage can bring.
Nice. I mean, Ainet is kind of important, not because the Fiend's Grip is going to be that impactful in the team fight, but the threat that it represents is very important. They always need to save at least one stun for that, and that means that they can't go full on, especially when you're losing. This becomes much more difficult for you. So I like that they're putting a lot of effort into trying to murder this Bane. But with the Glimmer Cape and his natural stat gain, it's not the easiest 5 to kill.
Yeah, that's true. Great stats, a balanced 2.6 per level, so he's clocking in at a healthy-ish 1200 HP. Not a lot for a tiny, but you know, TSA is going to be a little bit reluctant to commit a Blink Dagger against a Void Spirit, against a Visage, against a Beastmaster, hell, even against the Bane, who can just very easily, all the same, just turn around and Fiend Script you.
There's a sign, there's a Grave. First time they get the kill with it is going to be on the Underlord, even committing that Primal Roar. Using the very old Beastmaster build with the travel boots that Seb used to run all the time back when he was played actually for Beastmaster in Sigma International. I remember those good days for Seb.
SCA.
Back then it was...
Go ahead, I was about to say SCA smoke for bait.
SCA smoke, yeah, because they just lost someone and they go for the smoke immediately. Yeah.
I didn't need to cut you off.
I think they can take a tower now as well.
Yeah, I would agree. Without that, the Firestorm's a huge method of counter push here. Dendi's too afraid, and rightfully so, to even get anywhere close by. I mean, Void Spirit doesn't even care about you. He's got the Enchanted Quiver for more damage, a BKB as well to dispel and, well, just ignore you pretty much. The Hawk as well, still in onto his 9-second charge. He's gotta get in there, but even then, again, it's not a very fun matchup versus the Visage, who, by the way, did buy the Shard.
Yeah, which is interesting. I didn't think the Shard would actually be bought. I don't see that that strong. But the Hawk is a Visage player, so, you know, whatever he says, right?
I agree. I think it's very situationally good if it's a good game to also get Wyvern heals, you know? And
oh, right, yeah, because pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, kind of. There's not too many, right? Yeah, because it's a good heal, but like if you're using it to stay alive, you know, it's usually not going to be good enough because enemies just set up everything around you, and it's the welcoming party. So, but yeah, it's situationally really good, and it's another stun that you carry on the Visage, especially because at this stage, like you're saying, Visage himself, the hero, has to start doing a couple of things, right? He can't just rely on the birds, because even with the Gravekeeper's Cloak, they will be able to nuke them relatively quickly. That is until he gets maybe the 25 talents of the stacks. Depends on what he wants to go for.
See here, the smoke actually revealed by Ainet. And he does get stuck in the Static Storm. Sucks a bit for him. Supernova in the middle of this, though. And actually forced the Underworld for use to use the Dark Rift. Underworld might just die. They do get rid of the Supernova in time, but also same with the Dark Rift. They're not going to be able to be brought back home, forcing the Omni Slash now, dividing the damage between them. That's a really strong Omni Slash. Now, Roar just towards the end, though, almost dies alone to the Nether Ward. And here comes Denny to help out. They toss over the Juggernaut, enough to kill Pasha. But the Hawk is ready to fight. He had the cheese, eats it, and now is hoping to pummel Watson. Instead, hoping to punish Dendi. They're dividing their efforts a bit. They got to concentrate on someone, and they will do so onto Watson. Finally getting the carry kill they were looking for. Really hectic team fight, but in the end, it goes slightly the way of Prosti, especially by forcing that last buyback.
Yeah, very hectic team fight there for sure. And, you know, it's honestly the Visage Shard, you may have just convinced me with that one. A nice, very effective stun versus the Juggernaut, right? I mean, that's something that the Winter Wyvern heal is going to be good at.
Oh no, that was the cheese for sure.
Oh, he used the cheese, and but even though like Jug couldn't have nuked him with the HP he came back with.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
It was going to be impossible. Plus, of course, he became damage immune for a while there as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of convinced if it's a good game for Cold Embrace, it's a great game for this Shard too. That's what I'll say about
it. It makes sense, right? I can see the point against Omnislash particularly, and also against the Tiny combo, because you have two combos that really rely on timing. So if you don't get those combos off properly, yeah, I can see it. I'm not opposed to this. I like that he kept the cheese as well, and they give the Aegis to lure enough. I feel like if the Hawk there dies once, he dies twice. But with the cheese, he could control that a bit better and choose to fight there towards the end.
It's still kind of like a very rough fight for Bait to take there, because they had the threat eliminated from the Fiend's Grip, right? Like that wasn't going to be an issue guaranteed in that fight, and it still just doesn't end up looking that good for them. Yeah, so we'll take another look at that one here while we keep our eyes on the main screen. Because Prosti, they may still decide to go right back on in. Aina, fearless, leading the boys up into the enemy triangle just to get some vision back up here. But yeah, I mean, it was a good fight, and this is when that Gravekeeper's Cloak came in. It might have saved his life, because they were actually blowing through the charges there of the Cloak, and then he uses the active, and he's totally fine. And Dendy's just like, well, that sucks. I can't do anything here, and then he just has to run away. So in that case, yeah, it was really good. Pops the BKB, doesn't even have the familiars, and he just runs at enemies.
But then they almost saved him as well, though, so that was like kind of a...
Okay.
Then they did join in and almost had pretty much turned the team fight around. Did a lot of damage to the Visage. The toss there towards the end was really good. Ooh, there's a Fiend's Grip. There we go.
And a Blink Dagger too. Yeah.
There's a glimpse though. Hey, is that going to be enough time? Yes, it will be. They actually use the Promo Ward just to finish him off and also catch up to No Fear with the shard. This Dissimulate deals so much damage.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. And yeah, that's the Boots of Travels build. It's coming online or coming in handy for the second time now for Pasha. He's just seemingly everywhere he needs to be at the right time. It's fantastic. I imagine Prosti, they tell him to TP in first just in case. He's got a Blink Dagger. Aina has a Blink Dagger. It's just so hard to play Jug.
Yeah, it's true. In this game, you're the only win condition you have because Pugna and Underlord really cannot fulfill that, unfortunately. If you had other off-laner or mid-laner that could kind of be the secondary carry, but these guys are just supports at this point for the Jug.
All right, very aggressive Supernova yet again, forcing the BKB of Denby. No Fiend's Grip, of course, still on cooldown from its usage on the Jug, but that's going to be the second tier 3 tower taken. The Hawk is going to go ahead and use the, what's it called again? The ulti that you get with Silence as the Grave. Yeah, and he just absolutely nuked the structures there with the birds, so that was pretty good. He didn't use it for himself so much, just sending in the birds into the dangerous position.
Yeah. Oh.
Flips out Lauren off the toss.
And Aegis, though.
Okay. Yeah.
And BKB should be able to get away from this. Oh, there's BKB user just in case. Or not, he's holding on to it. The Dissimulate, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, forget how strong that shard is.
All tier 3 towers down. The Hawk maybe willing to go in with the boys. They are pinging him. They know where he's at. Pit of Malice on a Lauren up. Now he's going to pop the BKB in turn. Straight onto Limitless here. Watson just stuck in the trees as well. Finally finds at least one of the birds trying to get through them. But the Gravekeeper's Cloak, man, you're not going to be able to nuke him down. Down go now the ranged barracks, as they're not really left with anything in their hands to grasp whatsoever. No detection here for the Hawk, but there's going to be the glimpse at the very least onto the Phoenix. He'll be blown up. No Supernova, no Icarus Dive at the ready. They did have to commit the Static Storm, but now they're going to be a little bit more fearless and going in. TSA leading them up the hill. Blink Dagger ready in 4 seconds. But I think these guys are a bit too fast. Aina with a blink in a little bit less. Has a glimmer. 5 seconds on that one, but now they're going to try and turn onto the Tiny. To Hawk using the BKB to ignore the glimpse. Life drain out from good guy Dendy to keep TSA alive. And I think now maybe they'll chill.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You could feel Bait. It feels like they want to get anything. Fiend's Grip, down bottom. It's going to be into a little Omni Slash there. Sitting up damage though, Aina. Now he's going to be left completely alone. Down he goes. Reinforcements are coming. And they get the job done here as Lauren decent damage there. Big burst of damage out from Lauren. Oh, finally up to level 25, just looking to run away. Now TSA barely alive by the skin of his teeth, kept alive, especially by the healing ward.
They're gonna be able to take down the illusions there towards the end, and finally Bait really want those kills, and they just can't really force it. Honestly, and Ornoff is kind of unkillable. He's also playing, I would argue, his best hero. He really does know how to dominate with his hero, and the shard buff is ridiculous. I honestly don't understand why he got buffed in the shard, because the shard was already pretty good with the 25 talent, but now, actually the 25 talent also got slightly buffed because it should be 2 seconds. It's absurd. They gave him so many extra buffs here to make him just such a powerful late game machine. And now
Well,
he
Alvaro,
has...
it's, I mean, you have to understand, Ice Rock, he wants to buff heroes that we never see, and like, we never see Void Spirit in the mid lane, so it's like...
That's true.
Scanning.
I think Ice Rock is just a fan of CCNCs. Took away his Storm, he's like, I gotta give you something, and he gave him the Void Spirit instead, so... It's just absurd. He's so strong, even though the meta doesn't even favor him that much, it's just because of how powerful he is. He's gonna find Watson. Maybe he still thinks Void Spirit's a new hero, and that's why he's doing this. I'm not sure.
Could be, yeah, could be. Okay, Glimpse, just used defensively to make sure that he's not sniped there by Aina.
They have a little smoke here by Prosti Esli. Oh, yeah, it was a little smoke. Ninja Gear smoke by the Hawk.
Oh,
Hey.
wow, and he's got Sun under the grave as well.
It's hilarious. So he's gonna put the familiars. Like, I wonder why these familiars are doing there alone. Surprise! It's Ninja Gear.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's such a great item for him as well. Like
Yeah,
I said,
it
at this
is.
stage, he's actually gone for the Gravekeeper's Cloak stack, so he's going to be, like, again, even more deceptively tanky. I mean, 9 stacks here is a ridiculous amount. It's 180% damage reduction, by the way, so yeah, it's pretty good.
Yep. And now here, let's see what they do. Bit of malice.
Lornoff's just fine. They can't. I don't think they can kill him. He's got bottle. He's got an illusion bottled. Sorry, not just the bottle, of course, and a BKB.
You can't kill Lornoff, and you also can't kill the Hawk because he's the BKB himself. Bloodthorn's also huge for your DPS output, and of course that combines into the familiars. What did TSA try to do? He just got Primal Roar down the low ground. They're gonna kill TSA super easily like this. Nightmare actually kind of saves the Disruptor, but TSA's down for the count. Watson seems to be the target as well. The talent works against the Hawk, only using the Swift Slash. He still preserves. Oh no, sorry, that's no Omni Slash anymore. Supernova that can play this aggressively, and it's a bit too late. He couldn't have stayed there. The Phoenix has been used just so they can guarantee the Supernova stun, and it won't work out. This poor Jug can't be saved, even though Dendy tried his best. It's gonna be Watson going down. The GG called as they end up murdering the remaining heroes on bait. Prosti Esli will be taking game number 1 with a spectacular Visage carry pick.
Oh yeah, I mean it looked so good actually all game.
Yes.
And it was really awkward for Bait to play against this because it's like your early game hero that has him out of the gates are kind of both the Tiny and the Pugna, but both of these guys are kind of countered by the same style of, well, I have a second life, or I'm extra elusive. Or I've got stacks of Gravekeeper's Cloak. Even then, when Jug tried to join fights, it was like, well, we've got a Roar for you. Now we've got a Fiend's Grip.
Yeah, I really like the Prosti Esli draft because it kind of, I wouldn't say proved, but it's supported, right? Like a proper scientist. One of the hypotheses I have about this patch, which is that a lot of people right now are playing these kind of pseudo mid late game carry heroes, the Jugs, the Lunas, the Gyros. You know, heroes that can fight early but can also do it late. But when someone starts to break the meta and plays these carries that are strong, for example, the Visage, it's really difficult to.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is falling. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks are under attack. Dire's bottom barracks has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's ancient is under attack. Radiant victory. Radiant's top tower is under
Unseen,
attack.
not unskilled.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Gold and sweet.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is
My
fallen.
fiends will bring me back. Nature, red to the talent. Your life cycle ends.
issue. I thought it was more RDO based, but it might just be a bait issue as a whole. It's hard to tell, right?
It's early.
I think one game is
It's
not
early.
enough, right? One game is not
Absolutely,
enough. Yeah.
and I'll tell you what, one game is definitely not enough to satiate my hunger of Dota, and that's great because we have another Dota 2 draft just about to begin, guys. Let's go ahead and pull you in.
All right, let's see. It's gonna be Nature's Prophet and Nyx Assassin as the picks for bait. That's Prosti runs the full.
Radiant team ban.
And CIS, which is really impressive. I mean, MR is just a number, Dendi, but it's true as well that being rank 3 is kind of difficult. Like, anywhere from rank 100 to rank 0 is really
10
impressive.
seconds
Or
remaining.
rank 1, rather, because I guess you can't be rank 0. I'm
Yeah.
a software engineer, I'm sorry. And Prosti
Oh.
with a Void Spirit start, I think it's good because lower enough, we've seen him play a couple other heroes, and sometimes he plays a bit too aggressively. I feel like Void Spirit's the right amount of aggression for him. He really understands the hero, and he understands, most importantly, when to back out with the hero.
Yeah, and that's hard to do because I think when you get so skilled at one of these kind of flashy, evasive heroes, it can become very easy at going, oh, I'm God. I can never die, right? And then
No,
and then all of
God
a
is
sudden-
no longer playing.
Yeah, and then
He's in the upper division.
and feeds grip. Very fun. Very, very good joke. Is Young G in this one? Is YG here in this?
Young
in
G
this
is in Hellraisers, yes indeed. They swapped the Nyx for him. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we do have a god here. But you know, some heroes, especially like the Nyx assassin, say, "What is a god to the goddess Nyx?" Right? And
Yes.
then he returns the stun with the carapace, and that's what gets you off guard. But I do really like this opening duo for Prosti, the Void Spirit Grimstroke. I think that's a very natural combo with the Stroke of Fate shard as well.
10 seconds
I'm sorry,
remaining.
the Inkswell shard. But also this bait lineup is interesting.
5
First pick
seconds
Furion
remaining.
overall in the entire draft.
Yeah, I honestly thought Furion would not see too much
Dire
play,
team back.
particularly because I mean he did get he got I think small buff at the max damage of the treants, but maybe as a carry I don't mind him, right? In the kind of idea that I was telling you, that like the kind of fast carry. As an offlaner, it feels like all those offlaners that had push got nerfed because it's not so important now to take the tier 1. So like the Enigmas, the Furions, they're still fine. They're just not as impactful as they used to be. And there's other options that became much more valuable. But maybe as a carry, I'm not opposed to it, or even as a mid laner, right? Because he's hero, and the global
5
ability of the
seconds remaining.
teleport, great.
especially with how fast-paced this one has been.
I like him as a 5-2 as well, by the way, for securing runes. I think he's super strong as a 5. Good laner, secures runes, and in that idea, maybe you can flex him between like carry and 5, so not bad.
Hey, I like that you mentioned that because that's what we saw Aina do last time around. Just by making the simple run around the map on the Bane, didn't get a single kill. I don't think he literally did any damage to anyone there.
No.
He was like, oh, I'll get this. Oh, I can't get the bounty and I got stunned. He denied it. Okay, I'll go get this rune. Oh, Dandy denied that one too. Sorry, guys. And he's like, no, don't worry. You did great. And that's exactly what this Furion can do.
You hit mom.
Yeah, I'm his coach.
Why are you cheering?
Listen, I've been doing a lot of future. It's a lot of fun. This is exactly how I talk to everyone. But
Secret strike confirmed. Aina's mom. Okay.
Yeah. But what's really nice and what's something that I really noticed, I think it was PETA who did this when he played a lot of offlane Furion, when that was like the first pick material, not too long ago, something like last year. Something I saw him always do with the teleport was really use it to its maximum potential. This guy was like winning mid lane. He would win like the safe lane just by rotating at very key times. Yes. And I think that sort of behavior, that sort of awareness of the ability is going to be heavily rewarded, especially with the rune changes early on. So I like that you mentioned that position 5 change, because I think that might be perhaps undervalued, especially now that Chen no longer has a recall. Coddle gets it a little bit later. We'll see if that comes into play.
Yeah, I agree that I feel like any global abilities in this patch, because of the amount of runes, are very buffed. That's why I also like the Spur Breaker a lot as a 4. He's been seeing play in a couple of regions and do good success as well. I feel like NP fulfills a similar role. But the one advantage I see NP versus Spirit Breaker, of course, Spirit Breaker can gank better, but NP can win the lane much easier. And you want 5s that win lanes. We've seen in the Division 1 of Western Europe a lot of Elder Titan being played, also in South America. And there's a reason for that, right? The hero's just really strong at winning lanes. And securing your carry's lane seems like a very good priority too.
Yeah. This Pro CS lead draft just, I mean, I say it every single time, but this Grimstroke Earth Spirit combo, the synergy is off the charts. Now we just need to try and give them a carry that can utilize it for this aggressiveness. I think Bait have done well to obviously identify this. If I can see it, so can they. And they've taken out the Jug and the Ursa. Probably the easiest 2 heroes to abuse this combo with. That's
so.
lane. Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
I wouldn't say PA is too great this. It's maybe a bit too slow, and you fall into the same idea as last game Bait suffered from, right? Where like Bait plays a really fast carry and you play PA, you're like, what do I do? But I don't find that PA is too bad, because she can always go for Desolator build straight up, which I think is more powerful nowadays because there's much more fighting. And of course the Inkswell combo goes well. There's also the Slark. I think Slark is crap, so don't blame.
Team pick.
Okay.
Oh, nice centaur pick. I like him. Good against potential PA, by the way. That kind of I don't love playing PA against centaur, because centaur burst magical damage, and every time you dagger him, you also hurt yourself. Yeah, you're going to be taking a fair amount. Plus, it's easy to Phantom Strike once, but when that Stampede comes out and the position 5 just scurries away with max movement speed and you can't chase after them, you usually find yourself very quickly being overwhelmed by reinforcements. So especially because now this ulti has been buffed, 90-second cooldown, we're going to see it a lot more, and I think that's much more likely to be cut out by the Stampede. So I wonder what you pick now to try and take advantage of this, keeping in mind that no longer is it likely to be a position 3 Centaur. Okay, a Timbersaw. Okay, the lore-friendly matchup versus the NP. The reactive armor nerf was quite considerable to Timbersaw, like level 2 and level 3 particularly, which is usually when you get the strong lane, right? The regen got nerfed considerably, and so it's a bit difficult to farm the stacks. The duration got nerfed as well, so it's just like you have the talent now, it's a bit better at level 15, but overall your laning did get nerfed considerably, so you're not the terror that was last game or last patch Timbersaw. But he does combine really well with Air Spirit because he allows him to rotate. You can usually solo lane anyway, and he's one of the more traditional counters to Centaur.
Okay, I like it, especially because now we see a lot of Centaurs go for that Shard. I always thought that Shard was a lot interesting. It did receive some buffs. I believe the 50% move slow, 25%. Right? I think 25, thank you.
But it's still really good, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Jonas Saberlight pick it up, and there's the Slark you were talking about earlier.
Okay.
But just to finish on this point, it's pretty ridiculous. He can get incredibly tanky so quickly in this team fights. The issue I'm going to have with it this game is he going to realistically be able to catch this ES, this Void Spirit, this Timber, so some naturally very elusive heroes. I think that's going to where he finds difficulty. But talk to me about the Slark pick. You went okay with it. Does it tickle your fancy?
I feel like it's okay concerning the draft, right? The reason why I say Slark is crap is not because the hero is actually really bad or unplayable. He actually suits the meta. But usually Slark competes with the other two heroes, the Self-Dispel or Magic Immunity, which are Lifestealer and Jug. Those two heroes are considerably better. Yeah, Jug has been nerfed. Or sorry, Jug has been banned. So Lifestealer usually better. But against Timbersaw, it makes sense that you want the Slark instead. I feel like he's pretty decent against Void Spirit. I still have my reservations. He didn't get any solid buffs except for the Diffusal Blade buff, which was considerable for Slark's early game.
That's true. He's one of the better carriers early on. Not only does he already have the pounce to lock down and just eat supports, the buffs then to his usually first power spike are going to make him, as a result, much, much better. Same thing, kind of same school of thinking with the Solar Crest builders and Dahak last game on the Visage and stuff like that.
That's a good point, actually. Solar Crest is really good for Slark because usually he has trouble sieging high ground because if you don't steal stats before that, you're like, I don't deal damage to towers. Solar Crest helps you in that sense. You have a solid lane with NP Slark. I'm assuming that's going to be a 5 NP. So yeah, I don't mind this, honestly. I'm not the biggest fan of the hero. I think there are better options, but for this particular draft, I can see why they picked it.
All right. Well, we'll see what it turns into here then for the likes of Bates, as I believe that we still need Dendy's hero. Last pick Dendy. I think it's been a while. I think on previously, at least at the first half of the DPC season number 1, he had to basically get first or 8th pick at best for him, or 9th pick, right? Because they always had to end up giving last pick to RDO. So now I think he's going to be like, ooh, I finally get a decent matchup here for himself.
Yeah, I like the DP ban. I thought the DP was quite solid. I wonder what you pick up here. Gets a Void Spirit. I mean, Razor's in the pool, actually. Razor's quite solid here. Usually beats Void Spirit because at the Simulate, you actually stay in the same position until you appear, even if you move circle beforehand. So you still continue to steal damage. I like that. And he's kind of solid against most carries you can run here. Or not only a Dendy hero, but also one of the more traditional counters to Void Spirit, the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how Void Spirit's been around and so prominent in Dota for a good amount of time that we can already say the classic counter to Void Spirit. But you're totally right.
He was the first counter that people figured out. It's like, oh, this hero actually destroys Void Spirit in lane. He's really strong. I mean, still mitigate the impact in this matchup, so it's up to Dendy to show his prowess with this hero.
I'm really eager to see it. Last time that we saw him play the Shadow Fiend, he always went for the same build. Yule Scepter Boots of Travel Blink, Arcane Blink, BKB. I'd be eager to see if he's decided to make any adjustments to this build. I've not really been able to look into too many SF mid lane builds, specifically within the past week that the patch has adjusted. But who knows? Maybe it's a big winner here, and Dendy's about to show us why.
I mean, the only thing about Shadow Fiend that people don't want to pick him for is that he's a high-risk hero, and even when you get the reward, it's not that great. That's why most pros go against him. There's the Lifestealer, look!
Yeah, okay.
They're like, you think Slark's good? Let me show you what the true carry is.
Sometimes we actually know what we're talking about in Dota, it appears.
I mean, I think the Lifestealer is much more solid against the bait lineup, right? If you were running Lifestealer against Timbersaw, against Void Spirit, but against the Shadow Fiend, against the Centaur, he does struggle a bit against Slark sometimes. Though I think that can be mitigated because you have enough area damage with the Void Spirit Timbersaw, so it's not that big a deal. I like this Lifestealer pick a lot. He's also quite solid with the potential Infest Bombs to save Void Spirit.
Very true, actually. Yeah, very true. And that extra little bit of that extra bit of HP and heal can be super important versus your hard counter SF, which is usually a very calculated thing after the Requiem comes out. It's, I need to hit him with 2 raises and I'll move on to use my 3rd raise efficiently onto something else, right?
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. That could be kind of a game breaker here. For Dendy, speaking of other things to interrupt them, Earth Spirit is particularly strong against ganking the SF. Roll and Boulder in, you can smash him way out of position. You can even smash him if one of your allies is being Yule Scepter, or better yet, just silence him with the grip. So we've got a lot of counterplay here for the likes of Prosti. Get that aside, what are you thinking here? Do you think Bait have a better chance to take this game? Do you kind of see a more formulated game plan for them?
Honestly, I think it's a Dendy game. Like, it has to be, it's Dendy or bust, really. If Dendy has a really good lane, because Slark should be able to beat the Timbersaw, or at least trade evenly, and of course Lifestealer will win his lane, nothing you can do about that, then you have the advantage that Void Spirit won't be able to deal with the Slark, and your core-to-core match between Slark and So if that happens, I would say Bait will win. But for me, Shadow Fiend's always, honestly, a coin toss, so I don't know what to say with it.
Oh, we'll see. It's one
My
of the
fence is
more.
comfy, Rich. Come here.
Okay, your fence is comfy. You know what, Dendy? Prove him wrong. Let's see the Dendy boss in chat. Let's get the Dendy faces. Get hyped for bait, everyone.
I'm excited for this, honestly. I think Dendy's Shadow Fiend is really...
Prepare for battle.
Oh, I agree, and that's what I was about to say here to everyone. I mean, again, it's one of his most played heroes, up there with the TA. Pudge is actually not up there as far as I recall, but the DP, Puck, I think SF is pretty far up there. And as a reminder, this guy's got, like, I believe over 2,000 games professionally played in Dota, which is more than a lot of people have casually in Dota. So it's, you know, it's just to put that in perspective for you.
I mean, Dendy has been playing, as we said in the first match of the day, Dendy's been playing longer than a lot of new pro players have been alive for, you know. Dendy is really a true veteran. And the best thing about Dendy is that he, unlike a lot of the older pro players, does not depreciate in value, right? He's the most valuable coin in Dota because he's still a 2. Most other pro mid players like Fata, for example, he's playing 5, right?
Oh, Valhir.
We see God playing 5 too, not Dendy.
He's been ganked. Oh, careful here. Hoof Stomp was going to miss. Boots on the Earth Spirit. He's got Rolling Boulder, but can't use it. Try and run in a straight line. No fear. He's got Boots as well, chasing you down. They should be able to find him here, blocking him in to prevent the Boulder from coming through. Trying to hide, but he's just going to go ahead and give First Blood to Watts. And he was trying to feed to the tower to not give it to anyone in particular, but couldn't be successful there. Kind of an interesting... Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, one of the things I'm not so confident about the Shadow Fiend is that against an Earth Spirit who's an easy mid ganker, I usually Shadow Fiend tends to struggle because either you fight him head on and you kill the Earth Spirit in time with a proper TP, or you just get put on the tower and they kill you. So it depends on how active as well the 2 supports are on the map for bait. I think that it's very important for Nature's Prophet to be rotating all the time. Actually, wait. Oh, it's Centaur 5.
I was going to say, yeah, he did start off with Boots, which kind of alerted me to the fact that this is not something normal. And that makes sense here, I suppose. So it will be then...
Why does it make sense? Oh, because Lifesteal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. NP has a good lane against Lifesteal, Centaur does not, so you put him 5.
Pasha, not having a good time bottom.
And you get a kill as well? Oh, wow. Okay. Centaur 5 works. This is the region, by the way, if you look at stats, Eastern Europe is the region that has experimented the most with the Centaur. They were the first to run Centaur carry, they were the first to run Centaur mid, they were one of the few regions that consistently ran Centaur 4 for a while. They love this hero. Horseman is Russian.
Maybe it's because, as I recall, he's got a really cool voice in the Russian VO. He's got a really, really like nice, deep, crawling voice. I mean, who knows?
I know, in some of the CIS countries like Kazakhstan, they lead a lot of horse. It's very common in their cuisine, so maybe that's also it. They pick him because he looks tasty.
Well, it could be. It could be here. Furion up in the top lane is having a bit of a rougher time. He does actually have the mushroom guy. What's it called? So I wonder if he's not going to be looking to buy the shard this game, because as far as I know, that hasn't been fixed.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Because these are the guys that look the same when they get greater treants as well, right? Is it not?
Yes.
Yeah,
it is, but I think the bug has been fixed, right?
Well, it wasn't a bug. It's just that I think when it came out, they didn't have greater treants from 2012 or something.
No, I know, but I would say that it's a bug, no? I mean...
well...
Hey, how difficult is it to make a model big? Actually, I don't know. Maybe it's really...
Maybe it's something that I was like, yeah, just do like model rescale 150. And we did that, but then Dota crashed. It's like, oh no. But then it introduced 8 Rubik bugs.
Yes, and 15 Morphling bugs. What are we going to do?
They're still committing to like this very... Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a tri-lane. It's kind of breaking down now, but Pasha does need help. There he's back with the pounce, max range, and another kill there. It's 2 for Watson.
The Centaur Conqueror coming in to help his brethren. That was hilarious. I cannot believe he actually got like the perfect stun. I was wondering for a second, is he being controlled? Because that was too precise. That neutral creep was better than a lot of people in my pubs. Velior now trying to get away. We do have TSA after him, but there's no...
Watson's connecting.
There's no Impale, unfortunately, and there's no Orb of Venom yet in the Slark.
He's off and away. Another Centaur Conqueror stop on the Pasha. That was probably like a big pound on the desk right there, I would imagine.
The Centaur Conqueror, the true enemy. You're actually fighting 2 Centaurs. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's why you picked the Centaur support, because he can join in with the creeps.
It's like that very famous Dota 1 clip of the ogre sitting in the ogre camps after he killed the big one and jumping out.
Oh, yes. That used to be a really fun strat to do. Because the models were the same, of course. And people wouldn't check as often. People thought it wasn't much.
Yes, that's the joke. The models were exactly the same, so yeah, it's a bit
The Ogre
different
Frost
though.
Mage, it was.
This guy has a little bit of a bigger axe. Oh, they've killed him. They've killed him. Never mind. I can't even check. Leveless again, having a TP away. He'll be alive, but he's going to TP all the way back home. Not really doing much to contest the farm here of Dahak. Not really able to look towards other lanes either. So I'm hoping that this MP pick is going to pan out in some other way, because so far early on, it's not doing much. But you know, it's super early, so let's not lose hope yet.
Yeah. No, I feel like right now they got the lane that they wanted on bottom against the Timbersaw, and the middle lane is going exactly as they wanted as well, because Shadow Fiend is not getting ganked, and he's being the Void Spirit, which is usually how this matchup should go. However good you are with a Void Spirit, it's a very difficult matchup, especially if you put no points to assimilate. And this is usually the choice Void Spirits need to make against Shadow Fiend. Do I go for 2 points Neath a Remnant, try to play this aggressively, or do I try to instead max out Assimilate, avoid his raises, and farm myself to recover in the mid game? It depends on what your 4 tells you and how much he's willing to gank you. And because of this tri-lane, they've kind of secured this 1v1 mid. Very smart by bait.
Radiant are scanning.
Yeah, actually, I completely agree with you. And it's, again, unorthodox because of the Centaur, who we can see is kind of just seemingly following Earth Spirit around. He says, oh, if you're going to rotate mid, I will too. And I've got boots, so do you. You're going to get there a bit faster. That's fine, but I'll be there as well. Don't worry. TSA, full mana here, 2 clarities. They're going to look for the stun onto Aina. Should be relatively easy. They try and kick him away, but a big old stomp will connect. Pasha, though, Inkswell onto No Fear, cutting him down here with the Timber Chain. Has another kill. Watson, though, starting to climb a little bit higher. 2 points in Essence Shift, by the way. So these are going to stick around a little bit longer than you might expect if you think it's level 1. Yeah, he's probably going to now just max Dark Pact, right? Because sometimes when I see this, like when Slarks have really good lanes, they get excited and put too many points into Essence Shift, and then they don't farm at all.
I like the 2-1-2 build much more myself as well. Because the 2-1-2 tends to be like, all right, we have enough to deal with the lane, because the second point Essence Shift is incredibly good.
Yeah.
And then you have enough to recover and farm with the Dark. So I think this lane, because you're up against the Timbersaw, I wouldn't mind going for the full Essence Shift build. But you already see it, 2-1-2. It is what a good Slark player will do. It is one of Watson's better heroes as well. He's very comfortable with this hero. I think that's partially the reason why they...
3 heroes mid, so Pasha is completely alone right now. Okay, they're going to TP one top lane. It's Aina. Does not have a TP. Of course, you get one when you die now, but the Hawk... Oh, nice bait here. Big nuke as well. Out from the level 1 stroke of Fate. Then Pete trying to stay alive, but the Hawk easily has the kill. Can they make any aggressive moves towards the mid lane? As Velhior will show Dendy just waiting up on the high ground. Triple raise, perfectly connecting. That's going to be a kill here for the Dendy Master.
I'm loving the support duo. They identify that their carry matchups, or rather their core matchups, are so good in the lanes. They don't need to bother with having the stronger supports in the lanes, and Nyx and Cent are just okay, right? They have a lot of ganking potential, but they don't do much harassment. Prosti Esli should be able to take advantage of this, but because your Timbersaw and your Void Spirit are both screwed, it works really nicely for them. And with this tri-lane, you also can't leave the Timbersaw alone, which is what you kind of want to do with it.
I'll tell you what I really like about this as well is if you think about a Tusk or like a Shaman, both these heroes, the thing they have in common is that they do basically all of their skills and everything is done from melee range, right? But obviously you'd much rather fight a Shaman than a Tusk. These 2 heroes, they're not as great as the Tusk, but they're pretty darn good. Like you said, if you're ever within melee range, they're just going to go right on in, onto Pasha again for a 3rd kill. Ooh. No, he's just barely able to escape with the Timber Chain.
And in the top lane, though, they're also going for the Nature's Prophet. He tries to do the Sprout and TP away. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Lifestealer, last hit, doesn't get it. The Hawk
out.
Frustrated with this. Not enough HP on NP. You don't deal enough damage with your Feast.
It's
which
true.
Finally got changed back into the old Feast, thank God.
But yeah, I actually really like the support duo, but I like it even more because they're choosing very distinctly to go bottom, not only to secure Watson's lane, but it's also where you have the most impact. Because Timbersaw as well does all of his damage from a melee range. Careful here, Dendy in the mid lane, needing to run up to the high ground. He's got 7 stick charges, wand charges even.
Nice!
Big stomp onto 2, Lorinov. Has to be careful here. Necromastery long range ready to go for Dendy.
Wow, that was a really good hope stomp. I was very impressed by that. You know, a little trick that I'm hoping No Fear does this game, which Misery discovered a long time ago, which is that you can cast spells. Your animation works in the middle of Force Staff. So if you buy Force Staff on Centaur or on the Slardar, for example, you can actually cast it as you're sliding, and then you stomp on the place.
Okay, they're gonna try again. No Fear in the mid lane. Another big stomp. Yeah, he's not gonna hit anything. And look at this, Dendy's just gonna walk up. Doesn't even need the 3rd raise, but careful here. Oh no, Lorinov, he's the one that needs to be careful defensively using the Dissemblate, which is now level 3. Big stomps after big stomps, dude.
Yeah.
to the moon with this Centaur.
Seriously, can it be that No Fear's best hero is the Centaur 5? So he's doing much better than last game right now already. He has such an impact. And they've secured Dendy's lane. Like I said, if this lane goes well for you, your game is in a really good spot. Because Timbersaw can't create space for you. You don't really have a way to deal with Watson right now, who's also rushing that Diffusal Blade, as I mentioned, quite buffed for the Slark. Yeah,
now the Hawk. I don't know if he's going to be too eager to go mano-a-mano with Watson this early on. Doesn't have the armlet yet. Needs a little bit more for the recipe. TSA is showing as well up here. Got to be careful. Finger ready to go on the rage, I'm sure, here for Dahak, but he's going to just be able to pull the wave onto the tower. But they actually have completely rotated the lanes here. They tried to get the tier 1 down bottom. Pasha's not level 6, so they have no more interest of being here for the Slark. Careful, though, because now I believe, yeah, we have TP the Fury on top. Wrath of Nature, do we have any good targets for that? No, oh, he didn't use it. Sorry, that was just the call.
Oh, okay.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Dendy is just trying to farm as Velior's like, well, I couldn't gank you earlier, but now I'm going to make your life hell. And Dendy's like, I come from hell. I'll kill you. I'll bring you back down there.
Oh, Ina just awkwardly saying hello. So Denny's probably, yeah, I was just saying, calling some rotations now. 2 TPs instantly. Ina's like, all right, I'm out of here. I tried to fight those guys once 6 minutes ago down bottom, and they're even stronger now. No, thank you. We're already halfway to Blink for No Fear. I mean, not quite, but almost halfway. 1 case in the bank is incredible.
Yeah, he's going to be going for the Blink first. I mean, I think it's solid. If you can afford it this early, you don't have to go for the Intimidation of the first 4-step. I think it's much better to go for.
My path.
And I mean, this is because the ganking squad, he's honestly not left Nyx Assassin's side this whole game.
No, they're tied at the hip as Dendy gets caught here, dodging the Impale. Maybe now they can look to be aggressive with that on cooldown for another 10 seconds. They thought about it. Ina says, go in, my son. He's, I don't know about that one. They still have Hoof Stomp. He's hit every single one this game.
Yeah, oh, right. He wants to keep his 100%. He's playing an FPS right now. He just wants to have the 100% accuracy here on the Hoof Stomp.
TP stop, though, for Watson.
He could be in trouble. That's Shadow Dance, though. I don't think they have enough damage, but the Silence might just set up for this. Shadow Dance, there we go. And the TP immediately. Quite smart. There's no way you can... You only have one area stun that's like immediate, and that's the Rolling Boulder. In this combination of heroes, of course. And then, of course, later the Ether Remnant will be able to cancel that TP, though. So it's not a technique you could use often, but very well read by the Slark, who now has Diffusal Blade and is ready to fight.
All right, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a rude awakening here for a Timbersaw, who's currently sparring with Limitless. Oh, actually, a medium camp. That was stacked as well, so Pasha does well to steal that. That's a lot of wind underneath from the sail of Dendy. There's going to be a 2-man smoke along with the level 6 Vendetta ready to go for the Nyx Assassin, but there's sentries all over this mid lane right now. They definitely understand here that they cannot afford to lose any more ground here to this early game that Beta are presenting. It's a bit weird, but I think eventually with these kind of unorthodox picks, if you can outlast the power spike, you're in a pretty good spot, but tell that to Pasha now, who's just getting owned. Oh my goodness, not a chance.
100% accuracy, dude. No Fear's playing an incredible Centaur. That Hope Stomp just on the very edge of it. These are difficult to get because the animation takes quite a while, but he doesn't care.
Oh, okay,
TP might not be that great an idea. It was just a bait TP, and it reveals Dendy. Now in trouble. The Remnant also puts him in a critical spot. He's trying to fight back in though, and they will get the enemy mid laner. Lordoff is dead. Now with the Stampede, they can continue going for the Hawk. They've already killed Ain. He has to use that Rage. Can he get away? Sprout 1 second. The Hawk does have a Quelling Blade. Use it immediately. And that Sprout, unfortunately, they can't use the combo with the Trim block in time. And he'll be able to get away from that team fight.
Yeah, it's Pounce level 1. I'm surprised they even chased as far as they did when they missed the Pounce. I get the play, the call with the the Sprout and try and block him with the call, but that was a bit hopeful. Well, you're careful there. Dendy is almost twice your level. But yeah, I mean, they immediately realized, oh no, let's try and use these treants mid lane instead, get some towers down, because Lifestealer could probably easily outrun them with the phase boots, and even now the armlet is very tanky, and he would have definitely taken them for a whirl. Because guess what? Everyone from Prosti is alive, and they're back defending the mid-tier 1 tower.
Centaur just showing his face. He gets caught by the Ether Remnant. I think No Fear might die here. Another good Hook Stomp though with the Impale. They do stack the stun this time with Requiem Soul trying to save him. Instead, they'll set up for Watson to go in, hoping to kill Ornoff with the Ghost. Stops his fans from coming out. He's done the Shadow Dance, can't get away. Watson doesn't want to die here. A lot of area damage going his way. Can't dispel the Magnetize in time. Finally pounces himself, and Darpax to dispel that Magnetize. 9 Pasha hoping to get an extra kill here as the Nyx surprises them with invisibility. The Vendetta as well kills off Velior. But Watson is not far away enough, and he will fall to the combination of Inkswell plus Lifestealer. Now finding Ina, using the Wrath of Nature to finish him off. At least they'll get the supports here. But they were looking for cores because they lost lost their own carry in the process.
Is under attack.
Yeah, they did. That was going to be a bit costly for them here, unfortunately. Not really able to get much out of it, but it's this early skirmishing lineup, and this does usually benefit the Slark, but he was just unable to get his hands on really, you know, anyone that entire fight. I think he had an initial pick off there in that fight, as we'll take another look at it. But it looked pretty darn good, but a big magnetize just basically onto everyone. Unfortunately, no earn charges there for the Earth Spirits, but a pretty good fight there for Prosti. You know, you take what you can get when you only have 4 kills, and one of them is onto the core, who before that was like, you know, something like 2-0 and 3. You're pretty happy with that.
Yep. I agree. I feel like that's a nice little recovery from what was a difficult early game for you for Prosti Esli, with a bit of farm for the Lifestealer as well. Heaven's Halberd, a second item with a buffed up armlet. Really nice now to get this armlet. I mean, for Lifestealer it wasn't that big a buff. They just took away the drain, or the drain got reduced. Lifestealer got his feast back though, which is the bigger buff to Lifestealer in general.
Yeah, he's going to be happy with that one as well. Plenty of HP damage. Velhior, it's not going to be happy to walk top lane, especially if TSA can scout him out. He will now, but he's unlikely to get the jump onto him. You see, they tried to bait. Slark's like, look, I left 2 creep. Come CS the wave. It's safe. And I don't think so. TSA.
Failur's thinking about it though. He really was considering it.
Really, I mean, he needs levels. He needs levels. Oh, they're just gonna dive him. There's the stun. Slark's in immediately. Oh, okay. That was close. I thought he might have juked him there with the stick, but he had enough damage there with the Dark Pact. Good patience. Good patience.
A little Nyx buff, by the way, was huge. The fact that Vendetta now speeds up your attack essentially 50% faster. It's really nice because now you can actually get the Vendetta plus Impale combo reliably, which before you kind of had to choose between Vendetta damage or Impale, or going for something like Yules, for example.
What am I in European upper division? What's this Hellbear Smasher doing here?
And Centaur's like, I'm wondering, is that theirs? Is that the Lifestealer inside? Smacking the tower with 52 damage. He doesn't want to leave the Hellbear Smasher though. He's very secure inside.
He's relatively safe.
This is like a Baron Grills kind of
safe.
strat, right? He just walks in, he just goes into the Hellbear Smasher.
It's a Luke Skywalker strat, you know. Just jump inside the animal, and you'll be able to ride out the cold night that awaits you.
I thought it was Luke Skywalker who did that.
Well, yeah. You never seen Episode 5? He jumps inside the beast. Careful here. Speaking of the beast, they're jumping onto the Centaur. Be gone, they say. Who's going to be? Who's the guy that slayed the Centaur? Was it?
It was. It's not.
Greek
it was
mythology?
Pasha. Oh, the Slate the Centaur. You mean the Minotaur?
It was Pasha.
It was fun. In Greek mythology, the great Pasha Bashu slayed the Centaur.
Of course, a big bear just came out and slapped him.
Yeah. It was pretty well done by Prosti Esli getting that kill, because this stops the Centaur from being able to stampede and enables you to kind of farm the whole map without the fear of hearing the horn of war, right, and having to run away. Okay, that stampede has been quite impactful for being able to re-engage, and it's made it really difficult for Prosti Esli to really commit to fights, because if they overcommit even slightly, the stampede punishes you so hard.
Exactly, and that's really the dangerous part, right? Whether you're off lane, whether you're support, the cooldown's all the same to you, and that's what matters. Top lane, though, the Fury in a lot of trouble. Stampede's going to come through, but the stun will find him. Big reflect on the stun there out from TSA. Look at the damage as well. Will he be able to close the gap here? Oh, it looks like he's just going to live. No, he's going to tie to creep, actually, of all things.
What's the range creep?
Yeah, and Nyx, who couldn't have reached him either, so it was not exactly well worth it, unfortunately. That is still your off-laner dying at the end of the day. Had 11 wand charges, had mechanism, but just caught off guard there by the stun.
Yep, I agree. But, you know, right now the game is going slightly for Prosti Esli, as to be expected by their draft. That hope stop from the low ground was a very interesting try.
It's a good effort, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was going to be a kill, especially because they still have a tier 1 tower up, and they're very eager to TP and try and kill Watson. Lornoff looking for more. Once again, looking for the Axe this game. He's about 1,000 and some change away, so just about 1 component after this wave.
The Nature's Prophet is going to be back to farming the enemy jungle. They really want to make sure they take over Dire jungle. It's much more secure than Radiant. They've left Radiant jungle a while ago. Oh! Rolling Boulder actually hits him, and his worst enemy, the Timbersaw's here. Sprout does nothing against a Timbersaw. Activates a hood. That's not going to save you, though. There's too many heroes surrounding him, and unfortunately, that's going to be Limitless falling. And they lost their lead now, and it seems to be Prosti Esli's time. However, Dendi wants to secure this. I just wanted the D-ward, and instead, he has to swallow a whole Requiem of Souls and 3 raises. Dendi doesn't know the D-ward, doesn't deny the ward. Let's take it.
Whatever, he's at max souls. He doesn't need that ward.
Dendi's a good guy. He likes giving gold to the enemy team too. So.
Yeah, it's like, hey, sorry I killed you. You can get the support gold, though.
Actually,
yeah, nice.
imagine he would actually do that. Knowing Dendi, I could totally imagine him saying that as well.
Hey, Dendi, why didn't you deny the ward? Hey, it killed him. You know, it's the least I could do. You know, it's a little, some sort of honor amongst thieves kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I was
That
gonna.
was not the greatest to play though, because Rekima's souls now is down. Your Yule Scepter's kind of useless until you can wreck him back up again.
Yeah.
And you only kill the support here.
That's what I was actually going to say as well, right? Because that's 2 deaths that are pretty kind of big space creation deaths as well. It does take him a while to kill this Fury, and especially with the mechanism, the stick, and the Hood of Defiance, right? But Dendi's just managed to farm up the entire Yules and almost the whole BKB. It seems like he's not really confident in going in with the combo until he has it. Understandable, of course, because you're kind of, not hard countered, but the Phantom is super strong against someone like an SF. Very annoying to play against until you get that magic immunity. But it's a lot of for this early space that you guys all made basically off of the Centaur, and the Nyx has been utilized to farm, and it's not bad, but Watson, he's pretty farmed. He's going for the S&Y, has the Yasha, and Dendi almost has BKB, so it's like, well, hopefully this BKB is worth it, because if it's not, then it feels like we just spent all that early game doing awesome things for just a mediocre payout.
Exactly, that's true. Because now the Void Spirit is farm enough, I would say, to make sure the Slark doesn't have the easiest of games and like to deal with the rest of your team. Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true. That's a really good pickup as opposed to the Yule Scepter, because you need more area damage, right? So usually they do similar things. They both represent a bit of lockdown, a bit of extra damage, or more security, but the Axe is a better build-up when you're up against the Slark, and also helps you clear the treants from Nick Profit. So.
Speaking of those treants, Tahak has been farming them like crazy. He's actually the richest man in the game, up 800 gold
they
for
really
the Slark.
don't cost anything, though.
I mean, they don't, but I was just transitioning that into saying he's hit a lot of creep this game. All right.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's very rich, going for the Death Zone next.
What are you doing?
Okay.
I don't think he thought there was going to be a sentry there, and he got surprised by that. Ghost killed him. All right.
Triple silence.
Yeah,
that's the Axe reveal.
That was weird. Usually when you do that and you walk into the Aether Remnant, because he did have time to do it, you spike Carpus first. That's like the initiation, but by just doing that, he kind of just gave his life for free. I don't know. We got S&Y on Watson, so that's good at least.
They may try bottom here. Lornoff ready to go in with the Ags. He's got 2 steps with the Astral Step ready to go. 2 charges with the Astral Step, rather. He's got 2 feet, so I guess he does have 2 steps as well. But it would require both of his Astral Steps to go that aggressively. And then when you dive a tier 2 like that with only Ags and a regen rune granted in the bottle, you're going to get a bunch of TPs in response, especially because Dendi just has his BKB finished up.
That's true. Yep. And now should be the time where you fight around your SF. Ideally, maybe you wait for the Blink Dagger. He is baiting here with a BKB. The guys, oh no, I revealed my BKB. I hope they don't jump on me.
Oh, they're gonna push anyway. Belhior, gonna nuke the wave.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, Blink from no fear. That's a very quick kill. Watson even getting involved there for a little bit of stolen permanent energy. He's up to 8 now. And they're gonna try and for Roche. We got a little bit of minus armor here with the medallion. Yeah, I think we could get this one done in time. What do you reckon? Before the Earth Spirit respawns?
Yeah, I would say so, right? I think you should be able to take shot in time.
Okay.
Oh, maybe they can delay it though with a Timbersaw? Hey, overestimate their damage, but there's no delay. Timbersaw will delay with his death. Lornoff walks in. Uses both of those trying to break him a soul with a Yule Scepter. He has a Life Stealer inside, has to release him, but the Life Stealer does nothing as he's just raising himself to safety. They're gonna catch Aina as well as an extra one, but Watson wants the enemy carry. He has the Visual Blade Purge. He's de-warding in the middle of this fight. The Hawk! It's not the time to do that! They have a spread as well. They pounced him. There's no more rage. He has a magic stick though, but the Impale will stop the rage from coming out. The Hawk will try his best to get away, and they don't have the damage to finish him off. Little armlet toggling towards the end, giving him the extra HP he needed to survive this. Still a bad fight though, as Bait will continue to go for Roshan.
Yeah, but they don't lose the gem. Like, that would be so punishing if they lose gem. Not only do they lose the carry, obviously that's bad, and Aegis, and basically get team wiped, but leaving gem at least doesn't make it automatically a 2k net worth swing, right? Like, plus that doesn't even represent the value that gem brings to your team. The de-warding, they already have a Slark, so they don't even need to carry it. They can just leave it in the fountain, and then you just waste so much. That's so much money for a support right now to lose that gem. That's like, I don't know, 1,000 gold. It's a quarter of all the net worth that Aina has this game is that gem, right? And you would just be taking it away if you die. So ooh, that was close to being real bad there for Prosti. It still is, but Bait, a great fight. I can buy Shard? Yeah, so now he's asking, right? Because he needs to ask, as it is going to be still bugged.
Okay, so the new official decided, yes, you can buy Shard. Thank you. That's the great thing, honestly, about I will shout it. I mean, I know they hire us. Obviously, you know, we're biased here, but the Casting with the admins of ESL is always really solid because they're always there. They never are taking a break. I don't know if new official just stays with his eyes glued to the game. I hope he likes our cast because otherwise it's gonna suck for the poor guy.
Yeah, well, you know, he's like Twitch chat. He just keeps us on mute. Sage.
That's a be
Anyway.
as well.
Velhior's got a friend inside of him. They're going to try and find Dendi here. BKB ready to go yet again. And a Yule Scepter, so it's a tough kill, but they're going to try anyway. BKB active from Dendi. The bash, though, off from Dahab. Lorenoff is in as well. Lots of damage, though, but the Stampede is going to allow them to punish this overextension. Good disarm here onto the Furion, as Slark is now in onto Dahab. Rage is now going to be utilized, but he's still caught here by the leash. No Fear's in as well, and there's the gem fed over, but most importantly, the kill onto Dahawk, all in exchange for trying to snipe the kill onto Dendi.
Watson looking for the iron kill as well. No basher though, so unable to cancel that TP. They do kill the Hawk though, so I think it's completely worth it. Even Dendi tips him.
Yeah.
If Dendi tips you, you know, this man is like the PMA made a person, right? You know, you really screwed up there.
Well, I think Dendi tipped him because it's like, hey, that was a good effort and you would have had me, but guess what? I'm 31 years old. I'm the oldest man playing in maybe the entirety of DPC. No, because Fears plays in NA, but I'm the oldest man in all of this Eastern Europe DPC, and I can still pop my BKB before the rolling boulder hits.
That was very impressive. Good job by Dendi on really good BKB, and also good follow-up by his team. They seem to be much more in tune than last game. Last game, it felt like a couple of the team fights, they were kind of playing like two fronts, honestly, and there was lack of communication. But it seems like this time they're much more on the same page, which is good to see, because that's what we're saying. One game is not enough to tell a story.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why I really like the idea of actually the Centaur 5, because I mean, this Centaur, he didn't do anything that an offlane Centaur, like he didn't do anything special that an offlane Centaur would have been able to do there, right? Yeah, with the farm alone, he just needs level 6, which you can do probably 25 minutes in as a position 5, otherwise you probably lose the game for other reasons. And he's got a blink, and a very, very reasonable farm. He does this, he gets all this utility as a position 5, playing a hero that's normally played as a 3. This is why weird picks work. It's for reasons like this.
I gotta say, by the way, No Fear's one of the CIS guys I was talking about, or Eastern Europe now, guys that I was talking about that had played Centaur 5 before. So it is something he has played before. We were joking about it being his best hero, but it's not new to him completely. I like the 4-staff pickup a lot, by the way. I would like a shard as well.
Okay. Okay.
Because Blink 4-staff, I don't think you need anything else realistically, unless you want to build any sort of more core items. And a shard is really cheap, and it's great for tanking up in the team fight. So you can use double edge without dealing damage to yourself, because you have no hood. So the double edge actually hurts a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, so just get a little bit of strength back each time. Pretty impactful as well on just about everyone, of course, but it's hard to kill you. It's hard to kill you. Of course, it's a little bit less tempting with Whirling Death being an option, but then at least the Timber's diving you instead of maybe Slark or someone else that he maybe should be prioritizing instead. We'll see. Okay. Oh, okay. The trees are big now, so it has been fixed. Thank you, Valve.
Thank you. Oh wow, that's really nice. First time we get to say that phrase in the game. It has been fixed. So that's good. They get to destroy the tower. 5k lead for Bait, open up the map a bit more. And now we see teams that are prioritizing the tier 1 offlane a bit more because it's easier to take. There's no longer the super OP ward spot here to defend it. So and the enemy triangle is a bit more valuable. It makes sense that they can. It's more common nowadays to see that all the 3 tier 1s fall before they take more, rather than completely ignoring the offlane as they did.
Yeah, that's a good point. They got rid of both super OP offlane ward spots, so that's super nice. We also, by the way, went for, like, we're going full summons build. I won't quite say Rat because I don't know if Rat Dota is fully back yet, but you know, you look at the skill build here for our Furion, +5 tree and summon. He's got the shard, you know, he even asked the admin, so he was like, hey guys, I'm gonna buy a shard, you know, he even told the rest of Prosti Esli.
It's not an OP shard, right? It's
so good. It's so good. Don't get me wrong, but like that's not the spirit of the Rat. The spirit of the Rat is to do, you know, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to permission, right? Except in esports and all sports where you just get your win taken away from you if you don't do the right thing. So, but no, I mean, you know, a real Rat would have just bought it anyway, right? He's like, I'm ratting the game. What do you mean, admin?
True.
I even snuck one out from under you.
Yeah, but in CIS they don't rat. In fact, that was the term. In case people don't know where that term came from, it was actually used against Fnatic when No-Tail was playing. And I forgot what team it was that called him a rat. But it was like an insult, properly. It wasn't like a name for a style. Yeah. Anyway, they're gonna catch you the Void Spirit, run Ricky Massos, goodbye Lorna! Ceased to exist. Void Spirit from another plane of existence went back to it here with the Ricky Massos. And they even take a free tower in the process. That's all the tier 2s down. Complete control with the outer towers down. And I mean, this Shadow Fiend has worked perfectly. Honestly.
It really has. I mean, and Dendi looks at he just makes it look so easy. He's like, yeah, you just jump in and press the button and he's dead. It's that easy, guys. Don't worry. It's fantastic. Great jump as well. Great patience by the Nyx Assassin, who did get silenced there by the Resonant Pulse. Obviously, you didn't know. You couldn't have known. Careful. Pasha, stunned again, just burning the mana. Just burning mana as they'll go in and nuke the buildings with the rest of the trans. And then they just bring in the reinforcements. It's no longer as important to always get the auto attack out from the Impale, especially because they removed the break in 7.2 AB, which was a kind of a really random change. Vendetta, yes, thank you. Careful here, though. No fear.
That's Force Staff, though. There we go. Oh, no, they also have Force Staff, and they caught him with it, so that was going to be no fear done. He's like, they didn't never consider Earth Spirit would have his own Force Staff. Actually, it wasn't even him. It was the Grimstroke, I think, that Force Staffed him, yeah. Forcing him to go close to the Centaur, getting a nice little kill. Now you don't have the Stampede for 30 seconds. It was going to be up on 15. You can't really take advantage of the next Stampede too much. Probably going to wait for the Requiem anyway.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, it's interesting that it was Fnatic. I did not know that, but
was it
Fnatic,
the old Fnatic, the no-tail Fnatic, yeah.
Because Fnatic also, they're quite known in Counter-Strike for doing some cheesy things as well on Overpass and all these good things. And
I don't know if they invented quote-unquote the style, because obviously Alliance, you could say, perfected the split-pushing style, but it was actually, that was the first time the term rack was used.
Pasha, you'll Scepter buy some time. The team is not rotating on over, and that's enough to scare away bait. Although, I don't know. Watson did just bottle up a DD rune. He's got a 9-second BKB ready to go. I don't think he's really scared of anything.
No. Right now, the biggest difficulty for Prosti is that as you lose map control and you kind of have to put all your gold into one hero, the Lifestealer, you realize, oh, okay. Well, you realize you can find an NP anywhere in the tree, so that's going to be pretty bad. Stampede? Maybe not.
Oh, Dendi's here.
Dendi comes in here and they're afraid.
He's just
Dendi literally just showed himself and they're already afraid of him, and Dot will fall. Nothing they can do to save him. Dendi continues with his aggression. They find the Grimstroke, not setting up the Requiem Assault. They know they can save it because Ain is dead anyway.
I know way. Absolutely, and that's the kill. And the DD rune now used by Watson, and just like that, guess what? There's a million creep on your high ground. Luckily, Timbersaw does pretty well there, but Pasha is going to now be comp by no fear into the pounce. He's got a BKB, but it's not going to do a damn thing, Avo. He's just dead. GG, they call it.
Okay, well, Prosti Esli will be losing game number 2. Rather, Bait will be winning game number 2 with a pretty good performance, I'd say. I said it all pinned on the Shadow Fiend, and I think they knew that, which is why I thought the original tri-lane was such a good idea by Bait. Really, really clever choice by them, because that allowed the mid 1v1. They trusted Denny to win that 1v1. He did indeed.
has fallen to the Dire.
The worms will have you.
Allies disappear.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I'll be creeping while you are sleeping.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh, mate. Out of my way!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That should help.
Shadows.
Vanish.
Radiant are scanning.
Come to that. Of course.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Ceremony smiles upon me. Shadows take us.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Bounty!
Sunshine, honestly. And honestly, I said it in the beginning, I really liked the previous iteration. I'm kind of sad they let it go. I think they just needed a bit more time to improve on it. I would like it that Bay would stop trying out teams and would just keep one team and try to improve on it, honestly. And I think that I'm glad at least they kept TSA, which has worked out well for them until now. But I was also quite a Gambit 2 fan, so I was not really happy with Game 2 for Prosti. I think they're still trying to figure out the patch and figure out how to make this patch work. And it didn't seem like this game number 2 they had such a clear idea or such a clear game plan. It seemed lost for the majority of it. What do we do against Centaur support?
Yeah, it was definitely quite difficult. It felt like Earth Spirit couldn't really play his game. Whenever he thought about going mid lane, Centaur would just like movement and command follow him. And I was like, well, I can't ever get the jump on the Dendi, even though the caster in the draft said it would be good. What the hell happened? Well, we'll take a look. I think a strange draft happened, and we have another draft here about to begin. In fact, it already has begun. So why don't we head and jump on in? There we go. Into the draft we go now, Mr. Alvaro. Again, with the first pick, Nyx Assassin, just preempting that.
Dire team pick. Dire team pick.
We've only seen Dendi play the Shadow Fiend as a counter, but Razor, as I suggested last game, is still available. Quite solid against him in lane, because you don't move until you select the cut until you come out, so you can always steal a static link from him, and the lane becomes a bit difficult. It's not to the point that your lane becomes impossible, but because Razor can also match your tempo, a similar issue.
5 seconds.
And Prosti will try to do the same thing they did in the first game and go for the Bane. I think it's a good idea. I like the Bane as a 5 a lot this meta. And it works really well to cancel bait if they go for a really hard carry.
All right, they're going to pair the Bane with the Tiny, so a lot of burst damage here on the side of Prosti. Usually not that strong versus the Nyx Assassin is this Tiny. Nyx, that is widely regarded as a combo breaker. I think if you just had to explain a video game player what Nyx Assassin does, he's a combo breaker, and Tiny's all about these combos. So that can be a little bit punishing here, and that's, I think, why Prosti this time around, they're not going to first phase the Void Spirit. They go with the different purple boy of the Bane.
Yeah, I like the Bane Tiny combo as well, because Nightmare sets up really easily for the Ava toss before you have Blink Dagger, so you have a way to set up for that. It even sets up for like the toss when you toss it to your teammates, right? And you toss someone to your teammates who's Nightmared up. Super easy to do that little combo as well, because now toss is not random. It actually picks the closest unit to you, so as long as Tiny's good, easy, right? So I like the Bane Tiny as a starting duo. They also complement each other well, because Bane has a lot of kill potential early, but mainly you pick it to win the lane, whereas Tiny struggles to win lanes, and he's a lot about the kill potential. So I like it. It's a very good start. Bane does pick up the puck though, which is one of Dendi's, I think it's his most played hero, right?
On Puck, it's Puck, it's TA. It might be
I don't
the
put
Puck.
TA DPR as top 3, but I think Puck is the top.
I believe it is Puck. If we have any Dendi fact checkers in chat, I think we have a couple. Perhaps you guys can let us know. But I believe that is correct. I believe it's Puck, Lanaya, and DP. I don't really know DP's full name, so we're not on a first name basis.
It's Crobellis.
She's ghosted me.
Crobellis. It's actually one of the few heroes that people used to actually call by her name.
5 seconds.
Crop. That was her name in Dota. Never DP. Crop.
Okay, I see you're just gonna ignore the joke there. That's fine. I've worked hard. I labored hard on that one.
I don't care. Oh, you're the right region for that. Puck here. Picked up quite solid still in the current meta. I feel like the nerfs. I saw Alchemy, Dota Alchemy, for those of you who don't know, the guy who was the other half from Jenkins' duel. Quite solid analyst as well. We've casted before, and he meant a tweet that actually made a lot of sense, which was that a lot of the nerfs to the Shadow Shaman and Lion, because the cast range nerfs really affected the Hexers, made Puck a bit better. It might have mitigated the few nerfs he got. I don't think so much so, because he said the Puck was still top tier. I think Puck is still really solid as a mid laner. I thought he would go down because the mid lane will be much more about fighting the runes, and now that mid lane is much more about the 1v1, Puck is still dominating. Until counters come into the meta that can completely kill Puck, I still think he's going to stay here for a while.
Yeah, Fairy Dragon, we are very used to seeing it basically the entirety of the different patch. We actually saw a little bit of a, I don't really want to call it a renaissance, but kind of the comeback of the magic damage Puck. I saw a lot more towards the later life of 7.28 than I did towards the former. I feel like when we started, it was like back to the physical damage Puck with SO, Maelstrom, auto attack modifiers, especially with Witchblade. Everyone's like, Witchblade is fantastic on Puck. It is. But then people are like, but also, you know, they did buff, I believe, the 15 talents in 7.28 of the magic amplification, and then I think Veil even got buffed even more now, so maybe that's going to be a consideration. Back to the magic damage Puck.
Shadow Shaman picked up here by Prosti. Okay, so it's still going to be the same answer to the Puck, which is the Hexers. despite the nerfs to the Shadow Shaman. I think the Shadow Shaman actually came off a bit better because his shard still gives him cast range for the shackles. So even if you can only go Aetherlyn Shard and you don't have the talent any longer, it's still pretty solid against the Puck. And of course, Hex is always useful against Puck. But now my question is, where is Tiny going to go? Are they going to copy China and go for Tiny Carry yet again? Or what mid here? The Hawk did used to play Tiny Carry back in NIP. I remember him running it a couple of times. Not many players are well versed in the hero. I'm not against that idea yet again.
You know, I really like this because the more and more you bring up the Hawk as a player, the more it sounds like he was one of those guys. It's like, oh, Jug looks great here. He's not bad. Can you do that? And he goes, nah.
Well,
what about like a Visage?
He's actually quite solid. Jug.
Well, what about a Medusa? I'm like, nah, it's Juggernaut. I was like, okay, let's. I guess bad example with the Juggernaut, but you get the idea. I mean, I'd like to see the idea of the core Tiny as well. It's the
carry
I feel
Tiny.
like the carry Tiny. Core we've seen in some instances back in the mid lane every now and then, right? But not the most common pickup. But it sounds like if he's willing to be picked safe lane, it sounds like he's good enough to also in some instances go mid as well, and perhaps go back to that previous build of like the Blink, Echo Saber, and enter that transition item. This is a hero I'm really excited to see. I think a Solar Crest being as cheap. He's going to be back in the meta. He's going to be able to just kind of play that boring style where all you really do is just, I mean, damage your enemies in the lane. Safe laner, and you guarantee the lane. So,
yeah, the change to the Shadow Ward is, sorry, to the Shard is also pretty nice. Now that gives you the AoE Shadow Ward as opposed to it being a talent, because you don't have to forego another more useful talent, which is the Golem Undeath for the crappy Shadow Ward area thing. But now you can actually go for the Shadow Ward area regardless, which is actually pretty useful as a skill to heal your whole team. So it's not a bad pickup. A couple of the analysts I follow have been telling me that Warlock is a bit of a sleeper pick, where people are going to start to realize how powerful he is. And yeah, I don't mind the idea. Prosti ESL though will answer with a Brewmaster. Completely new picks we're seeing here. The hero that got buffed a lot because of the changes to the offlane. A lot of the small, cheap items like Solar Crest, Vlads, etc., which this hero loves building, got buffed. So it's just perfect for him.
10 seconds remaining.
yeah, plus I was really surprised because I feel like we saw like halfway through the
5
patch,
seconds
we saw like a ton of Beastmaster, right? Like not a lot of it, but we saw like a fair
Do you mean
amount.
Brew or do you mean...
Brew, sorry, I might have said Beast. I do mean Brewmaster because of the eggs, right? Giving you that second charge, being able to do that. So he kind of fell off, I think, for the more consistent sort of laners, especially as the major approached and his game started to mean a lot more. You wanted to make sure you could just get yourself a safe pick. So I think that really stopped the hero from shining too much. Do you think he's going to be in a better spot this patch, or do you think this is maybe just Prosti ESL trying some more stuff out?
No, I actually thought the Brewmaster would be top tier, or not top tier, B+ tier.
Okay,
I'll say.
that's pretty generous because Alvaro, you know, when I said, you know, C tier, he says that's garbage, and he's like, okay.
What's an American school? Is that how you grade things? Anyway, Brewmaster, he's better this patch because one of the issues he had last patch was that good Brewmaster counter. But one of the issues he had last patch was that you picked him and you went, why didn't I pick Beastmaster? He does everything and he pushes better than Brewmaster, right? So it feels a bit weak to pick this hero because of that issue, because of the fact that the pushing power was so necessary for offlaners. That's why Enigma, that's why the Beastmaster, hell, Tusk Necros was paid more often than Brewmaster because of that fact. And Brew doesn't carry too much push of the lane with him because of that. But now that that's not less necessary, because the tier 1s to the safe lane are less valuable, Brewmaster can come back into the patch and harass the enemy carry a lot. Against an anti-mage, he does struggle though, because the latest build we've seen is Cinder Brew build. It's very mana efficient. Not that anti-mage cares about that, because you can take your mana away anyway. So maybe you have to go for the new physical damage passive build, which is still fine.
All right, that'd be really exciting to see as well. This does now for sure make it a tiny, with almost a, like, I'd be shocked if it wasn't a tiny mid or a tiny safe lane carry. Do you think for game 3 in your first game of season 2 lower division, you guys are coming from actually you guys are coming from first season, of course, but do you think this is when you try and pull out a core tiny for Dahak? I mean, when do you think the last time you tried it out was?
It worked in China, dude. If it works in China, it works.
Okay.
I feel like I don't think it's that crazy. I feel like the shard, because people don't change that happened that made carry tiny particularly available again, is that now shard allows you to never have a limit to your tree toss charges, which makes carry tiny valuable again. And it's such a huge buff as well, because for 1400 gold you get essentially what the old tiny used to get for the Ags. So you know, if you think about that, It's like, wow, that's
5
insane.
seconds remaining.
I think Carry Tiny's perfectly fine. He won in China as well. I don't think it's that crazy a pick. I don't think it's that far-fetched. I would even argue certain picks like the Brewmaster might be a bit more far-fetched than Tiny.
As a core, okay. I could get behind that, and again, that's saying quite something because the Brewmaster's a B+, so we'll see here how that Tiny is going to fare for his grade. When his report card comes home, he's gonna have to make sure his room's clean when his report card comes home. That's all I'll say.
I think the Hawk does better than these kind of heroes. Like, besides Medusa and maybe Juggernaut, the more traditional heroes are just not his style, the more traditional carries. He's a fast carry. He excels on heroes like Lifestealer, who are relatively fast. He excels on heroes like Juggernaut, Visage, who are relatively fast. And Tiny also fulfills that role. I think the meta suits him as well. So I think it's a good idea to go for that.
Radiant
Right.
team pick.
All right, well, the last couple of bans here now trickling out. We're going to get to the TB. Lots of Dendi heroes here, of course. TA, DP, and the Viper all gone. Prosti Esli with 10th pick, so they've got last pick here for maybe their mid lane, maybe their safe laner. We'll see
10
what bait
seconds
want to... Well,
remaining.
actually, it's puck mid lane almost certainly, so we probably need an off laner, right?
5 seconds
Yes.
remaining.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think it's
Yeah.
looking at lane because they did ban mid lane here, so I was also surprised.
That's what I was saying, and then I realized we have a puck here. Okay, well, what are bait going to throw us? So they're going to throw us a curveball? Not really. They'll throw us the LC.
Well, somewhat of a curveball because he was not even trashed. This guy was a true D last or this woman, I guess. Sorry. Really good hero now though. The buff to the shard was incredible, now giving you the slight BKB, and with the slow crest, she also works well to buff your.
hero.
And it's not going to be the Tiny carry, unfortunately. We're going to see the Drow Ranger carry instead. Another one of the Hawk's old heroes back in NIP. Still fast. Doesn't work badly for them, mind you. And I think it's a solid idea seeing the LC, because LC does destroy your Tiny in lane. Whereas Drow beats the LC.
Alrighty. I also like... I mean, Dendi is going to be on the puck, but he's not going to have the freest game of them all. With the Shaman here, a single Hex is really death.
All you need, yeah.
Because you've got Fiend's Group to follow up, Tiny's here, Brewmaster, and then Drow with just tons of damage for all the lockdown that everyone else brings, not to mention rather that silence as well that the Hawk is going to be walking around with. LC, it feels like to me this is going to be a game a lot, again, yes, on the puck, but I want to see how they lane LC. I don't think that with this support duo of Warlock, Nyx Assassin, I don't think we're going to see any like shenanigans, shall we call them, from game 2. I think it's going to be pretty standard laning. But I'd be curious to see how TSA is going to manage this lane versus the Drow Ranger. It's dual melee versus the Drow, which is not too great.
Yeah, it used to be the case that you used to run Warlock LC because the healing combined was incredible and that used to keep you alive, but then you lead the end to X, and I feel like against Master Shadow Shaman, there's a lot of harassment that's going to come out there, so you kind of need the healing. I don't know, maybe you sack the LC and you play her. How I've seen her now is played as an offlane that buffs, right? So you just buy Solar Crest soon. Some people even buy Vlad's on her, just to make sure they buff your carry, and then you buy the shard. Have an extra like Minotaur Horn essentially on your team.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't really mind.
You're not
I
going
would like it. Uh-oh, give me a moment here. Sorry about that. Dota had a rough spot, but we're all good now. And I really wouldn't mind to see that. It could be a little bit. Well, anyway, yeah. It's my question though. If you're going to build it like that, why take the LC over the Abaddon?
Ready to rumble.
As a buffer,
Yeah.
because the Prosti attack is a bit better to not have to commit, and you also have the stun. The stun is really the biggest, but I would argue that Prosti attack is slightly better to siege high ground than the Abaddon is. Particularly good when you just want to finish the game. And I think in this game, it's more about the stun. The stun is kind of useful to be able to stop the Brewmaster or get to the Drow.
Right, yeah, being a lot more reliable than getting 4 hits off of the curse. Right.
Yeah, that's never happening in a team fight. Abaddon is only save. Abaddon is only save, so I think right now he's kind of better suited as a 5, unless you're playing him with like a really fast lineup that's pushes, right? Takes advantage of the passive. But LC is a bit better. Also, LC's lane tends to be more even. There's very few heroes that beat LC in lane. Drow happens to be one of them, but there are very few though.
Well, okay, that's going to be Lauren off mid lane on the Tiny, so I'm very excited to see what the build he's going to decide to go for is. Even more excited to see how he looks to transition when the burst damage from Tiny starts to fall off a little bit. TSA, with a quick little impale there, is going to be able to secure his team the rune, and they'll split 2 for 2.
I am wondering how they're going to play the mid Tiny. I'm wondering if it's going to be like a Blink Dagger Tiny like we saw traditionally until now, or if we're going to see like a Tiny that actually does go for Shard and tries to go for an Ags and even plays a bit more of the crit build. Like only go and blink and then immediately into the Shard and then tries to farm.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be more viable nowadays.
That's what I'm looking forward to as well, right? Because that's always the problem Tiny has is if you go for one or the other, and usually you need to transition. If the game's going late and you're not winning, it's like, well, now I have to try and do a bunch of damage with the Ags and the Shard. But maybe if you just plan for that initially, maybe that's the recipe for success. I'm looking forward to what they're going to be able to show us here on the mid lane Tiny. Laning versus the puck, not too bad, at least when you have more points in tree grab, but eventually I think Dendy's going to be able to dodge too much of your damage.
The top lane, the Bane is also going to make it a bit difficult. They are going to be running the Nyx Legion in the end, so securing the anti-mage's lane, I think it's appropriate. A Bane tends to do pretty well against Nyx. The thing is, level 1 Nightmare against Nyx, not ideal, because he regens a lot, so the harassment from the Nightmare is not great, and you might just want to have the healing of Brain Sap instead, but player's choice.
Player's choice. Big ol', I mean, it's only level 1, but big ol' Fatal Bonds there, sharing a lot of damage here between the Creep Wave and Pasha, who's got a lot of mana to burn. It's not a lot of damage is the thing, and Watson, I think he overestimated it quite a bit. They'll both come out of that one alive. Shaman has plenty of regen to munch on. He's just going to go in and wait for the Fatal Bonds to end, and then probably pop that healing salve, not trusting Pasha to avoid a stray auto attack from No Fear. I've been there before. There he goes.
Never trust your core, guys. He was only thinking about himself. That's the way you play support. I feel like if Pasha goes for the passive build to this game, where you max Truck and Brawler in the lane, shouldn't struggle too much against AM, especially now that Drunker Brawler actually has a passive component. It's no longer just the active, which helps you out a lot against AM, just to crit him constantly. He has okay armor though, AM. It's not like he can't trade, but obviously Brew is a bit better.
Look at how they managed this top, by the way.
That was impressive. The Hawk, he got blocked by the tree there. Actually eat the tree with his own tango, get the extra regen, and they still might be able to kill him. Oh, he didn't get the moment of courage there towards the end. Doesn't really matter. Beautiful impale by TSA, guarantees the kill. And that was beautiful by the Legion as well. Did you see how he was attacking the Drow between, only when the tower was attacking other creeps, so it wouldn't aggro to her. It was really smart. That's really hard to do.
I was even going to point out the creep, the way they messed with the creep wave as well, because you notice there's probably a couple of creeps behind the tower, and then LC quickly noticed, oh, Dahak, I noticed that you're under tower, and as Drow Ranger, the hero with the biggest wind-up in the game, you're going to have a tough time here, and immediately turned it into a kill. Really nicely done. Yeah, definitely. Everyone's out of mana down bottom, but the only one out of life is the Warlock. But Watson, totally healthy here. I think he's maybe consumed a Tango or two. He's probably consumed 2, considering they stack in 3s. But he's really having a pretty easy time here. Ah, well, you know. Vel Hero's going to deny himself onto the tier 2 tower. Nothing to miss there. No Fear still gets the kill credit, though, but not a lot of gold either way. Was out of regen, so it's faster for him to quick TP on over. And you still get the TP scroll from denying, well, quote-unquote, denying yourself to a tower like that.
Indeed. So it's fine. Actually, I would say denying got buffed because of that, right? You could argue, or
yeah.
I mean, let's call that denying, right? Because nobody denies themselves to the neutrals anymore. So dying to a tower.
Real quick though, Denby is not having a great time in this mid lane. He's being out CS like crazy. Of course, Lorenoff, I think this number's a bit inflated because he can pop over to the side camp every now and then. But even then, the 6 denies to have versus the puck is pretty brutal, and he is very forced out of lane already. Well, zoned away with the tree.
I mean, that's pretty insane. Usually the matchup between Tiny and Puck is not too great for the Puck though, because yeah, you have a lot of lane push, but unless you're constantly attacking the Tiny, which is not easy. Your magical damage doesn't do much against this hero. Was a really good strength gaining, really good strength as well. Look at this, he's chasing after Dendy. Yeah. Oh, and top as well. They're also fighting. Yeah, I saw that. The Hawk sees the opportunity with the Brain Sap. They finish off this Legion Commander. They see TSA as well. Aine has the Nightmare. Can that set up for the Gust? They don't have a Gust. So it's not going to set up for anything. Aine instead takes the creeps for a ride, heals himself, and makes sure that the creeps won't go under tower, so the Hawk can last him a bit more effectively. or he just messed up. I'm not really sure what he was. I kind of was giving him too much credit there.
Dire's structures
Well, Sahak nailed one of them anyway. I didn't miss. I didn't catch the other one to see if he caught it. But yeah, Dendi is not having a great time here in this mid lane. We'll see how that continues to develop as he gets more and more levels. The good news is that the deny situation is not awful, but Lorinov, okay, the toss missed at the very least. That's going to keep Dendi at least a bit more healthy. Lorinov will pop his water rune. Very interesting how the entire river is made out of water, and yet you need to pick up a rune to put any water in the bottle.
Yeah, because it's too shallow.
Big.
Think of it as a geyser, right?
What Big Water wants you to believe. Big rune.
Let's see, Watson in the bottom lane. He is trying to find Velior, but unfortunately with a Warlock, you can be as aggressive as you want at the AM, and Warlock's like, guys, I can auto attack. It's not much you can do.
Yeah. No fears here to keep him topped up on HP. With the wagon, they might look to get off a nice Fatal Bonds. Oh, they didn't connect it to the wagon, though, so it's not going to do that much. And that'll be that. Velhere's max HP, has 2 mangoes. Very quick there on the counter spell. Velhere, though, not consuming any of the mangoes yet, so no threat, but good damage by Velhere. Good damage.
I'm surprised, by the way, that Pasha still had to go for the Cinder Brew build. It is the best build for a Brewmaster, but it's quite cocky against AM. Thinking he's not going to be able to hit enough. And he will be doing something that I was actually talking about in the patch analysis about the Brew. But he's going to go for the bottle. Yeah, nice little drunken brawler there. Is he going for the bottle? Now with the double runes, it makes sense that offlaners can go for bottles again much more reliably. And Brewmaster is one of the better users of it. Because he usually has mana problems. So earn, bottle, and your mana problems are solved.
Rotations mid lane here from both supports. Aina and TSA just exchanging, you know, some hellos as they'll walk their respective ways around the Roche Pit and then probably say hello again and continue to spar in the top lane. But Dendi here doing a little bit of a better job now, kind of recovering, 29 and 6 as he finds some time to farm the camps in between. Of course, flash farming all the rage. Now is Pasha. Actually, he's going to die there.
Oh, okay. So Pasha falls here in the bottom lane, and yeah, he unfortunately can't really fight without Velior nearby to cover it.
Rotation top.
Top lane. Yeah, they're looking for another kill here against the Legion Commander. They have a Tiny as well. I think this should be a kill against Legion. They toss him back, yeah, towards the Drow Ranger. Using Prosti attack, not going to be enough heal. And it does seem like Limitless has a limit, and it's going to be now.
Yeah, the Nightmare was pretty much as quickly as Nyx could have toggled on over. Oh,
that was so close. Sorry, bottom lane, they almost got the Hex there. Right at the edge of the counterspell as he was blinking. That was almost incredibly slow by Velior. But unfortunately, counterspell a bit too strong.
Yeah, especially if you got the reaction time for it. Shaman pretty telegraphed. His cast range is quite weak as well from level 1, but they have actually managed to catch him here. He's got Hex ready to go for Watson. Didn't commit it yet, though, and there's no counterspell, but he knows that they can't realistically get a kill, so he'd rather save his mana.
Right now, Watson is just trying to... I mean, he's managed to push at the Brewmaster. He's had a pretty decent lane for what the matchup is, particularly because the Brewmaster's build, though. Now with the Cinder Brew level 3, one of the advantages of this build is still the fact that it's really mana efficient, so you can just continue to push for pressure. But the healing from the Warlock mitigates the Cinder Brew damage completely. Because the DPS is not as effective as the Thunderclap, it just is more mana efficient.
Well, I'd be curious what the breakdown is, because of course I am only with 1 point in the counterspell, has a little bit of extra magic resistance anyway, so I wonder what's worth it.
Just for the pain? Have duel as well, wow, okay. They really hate the pain. I mean, the duel seems logical because you get the extra damage, but that Dream Coil seems... Sure, I mean, you get a kill.
Yeah, I guess it's important. I mean, Dendi needs to get involved in some kills. He has a DD rune, so we might consider to stick around top lane for now. We need to get the ball rolling as well for LC, otherwise it's a hero that, well, you've got an AM on your team, right? So you can't really rely on him to have a good laning stage and then try and, you know, salvage a bad off lane or a bad mid lane. It's not really what this hero does.
Let's see in the bottom lane. I feel like Velior looking for a on Watson. They're trying to force him to blink defensively. There we go. And Ty is like, hey, Am, you thought you were getting away? There's Avalanche, Hex, Shackles, goodbye.
Oh, wow.
They even rotate the Hawk just for the securing the kill, and it's going to work out for them. Because this also allows them to take a tier 1 tower bottom and even put the Hawk in the easiest place to farm. I think it's appropriate to do this.
Yeah, nice rotation there by the Tiny. He goes top. When the enemy mid goes, when the enemy mid goes top, you go bottom and make plays elsewhere on the map.
But LC can solo push this tower though, which makes her a bit stronger, especially because she went for the full Prosti attack build, which is how I've seen her build.
Going for Blade Mail as well here, actually. Nice item to have for the Trout.
Pasha, Dream Coil. Okay, yeah, they have the Waning Rift as well. I think he can just use Primal Split though. He's waiting for it. There we go, Primal Split. Surprising Dendi. They almost initiate onto Velior. All of the Brewlings stun themselves against TSA.
No Fear TP's away.
No Fear does
Boulder
TP
hurl.
away, but we are seeing the Puck trying to still go for the kill. In fact, they're gonna try to kill Puck instead. They kill TSA here with the Brewlings as Dendi trying to run away with that salve on him. Avalanche nearby. Can they toss something onto him? Dendi. Oh, they got the Avalanche off, but he does phase shift in time to prevent most of the damage, and he's capable of getting away. Duel wasted up top, by the way.
Wasn't this AM
And now?
the female persona?
Careful.
Okay.
Lorinov.
Okay, well-
They're going for the Legion Commander. Can they kill her? They're waiting for the toss play. Oh no! She's too slim! She gets to the trees. Tiny's too fat. He can't follow up, but he can't do the toss thing. Tiny needs to go to the gym. Stop grinding so much.
Well, that's the thing. Is it? He just wait. You know, it doesn't hadn't even taken a point and grow.
You'd expect that the guy would be buffed by how much he's doing this little somersault in the air. Oh my goodness,
I mean,
Lord.
what's crazy to me is that Lorinov killed Wei, you know, the AM persona, and then regular anti-mage showed up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's true. Oh, it's true. But the portrait's still the way.
Yeah, I mean, because he spawned in, well, you know, we spawned in as Wei for Watson, and then all of a sudden he's back. Magic be damned.
I guess reincarnation is real, guys. Sometimes we don't reincarnate as the same person. That's incredible. That's true.
This is, sorry,
I've never
it blew
seen
my
this
mind.
bug before.
And yeah, me neither. I've seen lots of missing hair. That's very normal. TSA mid lane is going to be missing off the map. Oh, wow, they caught Dendi.
But they also
caught
Velior
Dendi.
mid.
Yeah, I caught the kill mid lane. What happened to Dendi?
I did not see that. I did not see that.
Blink Dagger. Blink Dagger reveal there for Lorinov.
Oh,
Just
what an
freshly
early
delivered.
Blink Dagger.
13 minutes. I mean, he's 2-0-1 only, but again, he kind of demolished the laning stage. So
Yes.
he had a very early start. Pasha as well does feel pretty strong. He's already got the just straight into the Agnum Scepter here after the Urn of Shadows and Bottle.
I mean, I think the Aghanim Scepter is probably the best thing for a Brewmaster offlane when you're playing him more as an initiator. A lot of offlaners don't like going for the Blink Dagger as much as we saw for the LC going for Blade Mail first, which will replace the drums that LC's offlane used to go for. And similarly with the Brewmaster, supposed to go for the Blink, he's like, why if I just get 2 charges? And that way you can initiate with Primal Split, which is a bit more impactful than having to blink in, Thunderclap, and then pray they leave you alone in time to use the Split. X, Legion, with Cinder Brew, can someone trigger it, please? No? There we go, finally Tiny coming in, and even this crushes the Cockroach, but the Warlock Golem comes out. They're hoping to kill off Lorinov. He's gonna be perfectly fine. In fact, this Legion Commander is in trouble thanks to that Fiend Script. They finish him off. They even get the Golem. Oh no! He's actually gonna be able to get away, not barely, thanks to the Brewlings guaranteeing that kill. And Lorinov, he's just everywhere. Also kills No Fear as they murder his Golem in the back lines. It's gonna be a huge win for Prosti.
Yeah, that couldn't have gone much better for Pasha there. I mean, just got a great ulti off after. I mean, literally, they just kind of walk up and hit him with the Hex to start off a team fight. Blink Dagger, who needs him when you've got, I mean, Lorinov was there for the secondary follow-up, of course, and a great Fiend's Grip. Just really no counter initiation without Dendi being there. He's got an item on the way. It should be, oh, it's poor. He's poor. He's poor.
Sorry, something about how you went that, like you just realized, oh my god, AM, he has no farm. Honestly, for what the game is going, no, but in a usual AM timing, he's not going to be that bad, right?
Well, I was going to say Dendi is poor. I thought he had like a Yule's on the way, and I was like, okay, so he just bought Yule's. He has like Blink Dagger.
No,
and the
no.
Oh, no, 4K net worth. That's it. That's all he's got.
Dendi's not looking too well. I mean, the AM I think is looking fine for the most part,
Yeah.
so at least your game is secure that way. And I think Puck is useful even without items. Obviously, you'd rather have items, but
We've got
Dendi
Blade
also
Mail as
plays
well for Legion.
that's true. Dendi also plays a much more teamfighter-oriented Puck, not so much the carry. So I think it's less dependent on farm. Though Dendi will die
Dendi
again.
trying to live. Will he though? Velior is not going to be able to catch up in time. They've put No Fear to sleep, and they've got they've got detection here for the Nyx Assassin. They'll wake him up with press the attack. TSA considering going back in, but he knows they have detection of him here.
They're all running around the Nightmare unit, but not actually doing anything. Now they do something. Now that Lorinov is here, he's the man of action. He gets things done. And he merged Legion Commander with the Nightmare. They also cancel his TP for Nyx Assassin. And with the Shackles, this time Nyx will not be getting away. Goodbye. Lorinov getting yet another kill, even throwing the tree to guarantee it in the air. Because you don't want the supporters taking that kill away from you.
No. I mean, I think unironically you can't. I think Tiny mid, At least right now in a game 3 where I've not seen it too frequently yet. It's still early in the patch and it's developing. I think you can't afford to let any gold slip by. You just need, like, every single item is just such a huge milestone for you. It gives you so much more power here. Speaking of power, Drow's getting nice and powerful, farming in the jungle, going for the Manta style. Tiny's got something on the way. It's just some clarity, as he's going to be looking to keep the pressure up with this skid out taunts that he keeps showing off.
And the secondary power as well is going to be coming up to almost as an axe done.
Wow.
So that's going to be a really nice little second primal split. Your team fight's going to become almost impossible. This is a huge, this is a great timing for axe in the offlane brew, honestly. With bottle, with the urn, with the magic wand, like he's running out of slots. That's how expensive or how rich he is. Give something to Dandy, dude. Like throw a coin his way.
Anything right now, honestly. He could really use it. I mean, he's farming at a respectable pace here. 1-1 and 0 overall. Not had the greatest of starts here. They've been unable to actually use this blade mail and try and string together a win here with the coil or anything. We've seen one golem as an attempt to counter initiate. Didn't go well. So we'll see what Bane have in mind, because we are going to have a pretty early Roshan being taken here, around 16 minutes. This is the second time I've seen a pretty early Rosh by a team that does Rosh decently, but it's no Slardar Ursa.
That's true, but it actually went quite well for them, honestly. Dendy's coming in. Guys, they're at Roshan. He has to initiate. Legion Commander's nearby. He lost the Warlock, though. That means no Golem. There's no way you can fight without the Golem any longer. And the Roshan's already down. Aegis for the Hawk. And that's going to be it. Oh, they're still going to go for the triangle?
We're 500 gold away from Ag, so it feels like now is our best opportunity, but obviously they don't know that. Only we have that information. AM has probably heard this, and he's like, no, don't fight. I need 20 more minutes of farm. Uh-oh, and they might not get it, because Lornoff is immediately onto him. Okay, counterspelling the toss, and he's going to be able to blink up to the high ground. Blink available into more. He's going to ping where he thinks a ward. He's not far off. He's not far off, but he walks right underneath the ward here. Very peculiar lane ward here for Prosti. He's going to let him know when the AM is filtering out to the side lanes to continue farming.
Yeah, it's quite a peculiar lane ward, especially because it's so close to the warding spots. No way they deward this, that's for sure. And I mean, that secures your tier 2. Like I said, for Dire, I think. Oh, and this time there's no counterspell, and he's gonna get it. Mash a tree into him before he can even blink away. Well played, Lornoff. I mean, oh my goodness. You were asking if Tiny Mid is back. I think this is proof enough.
Well, you know, I think a lot of mid laners could probably kill an unaware AM on half HP, but I get your point for sure.
Okay, let me just talk him up, okay?
I get your points. It's looking real good this game. He is going for Echo Saber. He's just bought out on the Oblivion staff. That's on the way to Courier now.
More traditional Tiny Mid then. Like no special shard shenanigans, no axe build. I think it's fine, by the way. I don't think this build became bad. It just so happens that it got buffed because of the new runes, right? Because Tiny's a great bottle user and he's great at fighting runes. Because if you get close to him and he avatosses you, you're like, I'm done. So he's a very strong 4 or mid. And I think, according to the Chinese, they carry too.
Oh, look at this ward. It's literally perfectly just outside of range top. Team script. Yeah, on to Limitless, who's just eating auto attacks out from Dahawk. A little gust in case there was a TP coming.
That's adorable.
I'd like to think it was just like a style gust, you know, just to give flex on him a little bit. But it was probably just to catch any TP's bottom. No, TSA did at least bait out a lot of, basically all the spells from Valhior, so these Serpent Wards aren't going to be put to any use. Standing nearby. Can he actually make anything? He might just look to farm up these wards, honestly. It's good money, but I think he doesn't want to risk it. But like, once again, like, what's the plan B right now for Bait, right? Because Dendy's farming. He's got a Blink Dagger. It's on the way now.
In their defense, when you pick an AM, there's no plan B. It's AM or bust.
Okay.
That's kind of, any team in the world will
yeah, there is no B in AM.
That's true. It's just, he's just the plan A, right? So I don't know. It feels like this want to be one of those games where you lose 2 lanes of racks, AM is still farming, much like Arteezy, and you hope that with the farm that he gathers while they're taking away your base, he is capable of winning the game by himself. And I don't know if that's good enough. Especially against like Bane and Shadow Shaman, these are heroes that also counter these kind of styles. Because Hexes, you know, Nightmares, Fiend Scream.
Yeah, I mean, and Brewmaster as well with the Cyclone can be super obnoxious. Passion showing off his knowledge of the new trees that got planted.
Yeah. Actually easier to do these kind of plays now.
Oh yeah, look, he might even find Dendy. It was a tree away. But Dendy does not want to defend this. Dahawk just auto-attacking it from a ways away. And down goes a tier 2 tower. First to fall here for the likes of Bait, forcing AM to instead farm a little bit less efficiently in the bottom lane. It's a bit dangerous as well because they have a tier 1 they can TP to both mid and bottom. So he'd much rather be farming top if he can, but obviously that's not an option.
Yeah, it's tough for Bait now because you don't really have a space creator. What are you supposed to make sure that's to stop them from pushing you? Because they have Drow. They have a really good push, and Drow went for the Manta style build, which got buffed incredibly for ranged heroes. And is of course much more useful for a Drow. What do you do to stop her?
Yeah, it doesn't feel amazing right now. I mean, Dendi's going to be going for the Eul Scepter. Like, it feels like we're in for a repeat of game 1, almost like verbatim, doesn't it? I mean, we're going to be choked into the high ground here pretty soon. Dendi's going to be able to farm the waves from a distance. He's going to get maybe one item. That'll be the Euls this time around. Once again, his supports, they're not the best from playing from behind, right? TSA doesn't feel awesome. When you duel someone this far behind on an LC, you end up just feeding damage. Who's got 1,000 gold in the bank, though, so Limitless as well as farming, but they are looking to hunt the AM on their own high ground. Instead, they'll have to settle for the Nyx Assassin, who does get off the...
Oh, nice.
The Nightmare. Yeah, that's a Fiend Script. Into the silence. Okay. Yeah.
They don't even need a Fiend Script. They're just going to murder him. There's another option to prevent the AM from perhaps coming back into the game. You just murder him constantly and chase him down.
I hesitate to call that greed, but when the Tiny is rotating and Avatosses your Nyx Assassin at the Bounty Rune spawn, and you're farming Ancients, not but a stone's throw away, no pun intended, I feel like that's a good time to blink away.
I agree. Oh, poetry, but yeah, that was... Yeah, I don't know. What else do you have, though? Where else can you go in the map, though?
I get it. Because you have no other vision. You've got no vision on their side of the map. You couldn't have known how many people were there. It was Bounty Rune time anyway, so maybe it's just Tiny there to refill his bottle. Like, I get it, but it seems like a risky move to make when they can TP to any one of these 4 locations that are equidistant to you. Yep. We'll see. I mean, it's unfortunately another big death here for AM. That's the 3rd of the game. They are going to milk yeah, good smoke play here. Dandy in the battle here. Using the first of 2 ultis. The TSA trying to stop too great of initiation. There has been found and maybe even killed. Aina channeling the ultimate. They're not going to cancel it either. They're instead going to duel onto the Drow Ranger, and she might even win this duel. There's going to be a timer to save her a bit of trouble here. They really want the Drow, but they're not going to get her. She gets away with the Manta style. No fear. Going to be summoning the Golem there, but they have it down again, and that's only 1 of 2 ultis used there by Pasha. AM shows up to the fight maybe for a second, quickly realizes it's going south, and he just bolts.
I mean, AM only has a Battle Fury to Yasha. What are you supposed to do in the team fight, right? You just don't have damage. Even with a Warlock Golem, it seems weird that you pick such a... Oh, they actually might find him? No way. Toss on top of that? The Echo Saber? No, Watson will survive. That was close, though. Thank God he has the full counterspell now instead of maxing the mana break and stuff. Anyway, the choice there by Bait to fight, I don't know, it feels like you don't have anyone to play around here. Nobody's giving you damage, a lot of team fight, and nothing to combine it with. And actually, Shadow Shaman finds the AM. We have Shackles. Yeah, it's enough time for Tiny just to walk here, waddle over, Echo Saber, and not even needed, apparently. The toss will be sufficient to finish off this 4 AM.
Yeah, that was a bit rough there. AM getting caught there for the 4th time. His farm, okay, but he's only got 4 more gold than Pasha, who quickly farms another wave, and he's right back up there. Pasha, by the way, using an ulti. They're going to try and just fight the LC right outside of their base with 4 heroes alive on Bait. Okay, TSA just ready. He's going to go for the counter initiation. Does manage to get the Carapace off in time. That'll save at least Limitless from getting tossed back to his death. Possibility, but Dendi just cannot find the opportunity to counter initiate there.
That little smoke here by Prosti. See if they can find anyone. There's just a smoke to get to the tower faster, maybe. They have Solar Crest on Bane, by the way, which has been an itemization we've seen a lot in the Bane.
Yep.
He doesn't need any items, so you might as well buy Solar Crest.
He had Blink queued up, actually, and I thought he was going to commit for it, but then he decided to dump his money into the Solar Crest as well. I think it's a great item as well. I think Blink is also an interesting perspective, as they're going to catch Watson yet again. The Dota knowledge here at least does manage to counterspell away the Shackle, so maybe he can live 2 seconds on the Blink. Doesn't look like they'll continue the chase here. That would have been quite the death there, unfortunately. I mean, to answer your question, Avo, I think that's what the smoke was for. They knew that if we killed AM top lane, we showed bottom, we shoved bottom hard, we'll just take mid, rotate all the way back to top, and see if we can catch anyone else farming the wave.
Yeah. It's been too easy to catch up to this AM, honestly. Usually he's effective because he can cut lanes in the game, right? You can just really blink forward and cut lanes super easily, and then at least he creates space for your team that way. But in this game, since Tiny's been catching him, he's been playing more as just a very low mobility carry with 0 farm. And you were saying it earlier as well, like, oh, his farm's okay, but you don't pick AM for okay farm. You pick him for great farm.
Yeah,
and you have to say that, it's looking bad.
Exactly. We at least had TSA snipe the outpost, but it'll be back in control here before you can say Cowabunga, dude. Pasha already had that one reclaimed for the team, making sure there's no opportunity for AM to try and sneak out and TP to an outpost and get into the triangle yet again. Even if he did do that, they've got a ward here as well, just waiting for him.
It's like Drow is also thinking about the butterfly next, which is a very common pickup. Great, especially against AM, who doesn't like going for MKB. Yeah, I'm making it more difficult for him to jump the Drow, which is the only way they can win this. Warlock walking up to the high ground, hoping to deward the triangle. I don't think you're in a position when this is even possible, because even if you deward this, are you going to fight your triangle? No.
Yeah, I mean, it's to try and at least make any movement on the map without being scouted. You can see, I mean, look at this, like, pitch-perfect ward placement. I believe this Observer ward is just out of range of the sentry he placed down. So he's not even going to be able to find this D-ward. It's a little hard to tell, but I believe it's just out of range, which is absolutely ridiculous. That's the second time this game has happened, but they're looking for the AM, just getting the blink away in time.
We have blink on the shaman, so AM should be able to survive. Actually gets in. Okay, and you forced a couple rotations. That's the space that AM usually... But you need the Legion with you to afford that, right? Legion is not going for the short build, by the way. She's going for Hood Defiance instead, which was the traditional build on Legion. Actually tried to go for the pipe, and now the Blink Dagger. So no innovation on this Legion Commander, which makes her the old Legion Commander, which...
and that's not a B+ Legion, is it? That's more of a C, isn't it? That's not the Legion Commander that you show off on the report card to your parents and then ask to go for ice cream.
Parents never gave me praise or nothing, and then if I got an 8, they wouldn't beat me, and that was my reward. So.
Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. Very strict parents, of course.
No, that's not true actually. They never ever looked at my report. That's the Hispanic way.
That is kind of the Hispanic way. Drow Ranger though going to start up for second Roshan here. Butterfly completed in 1,000 gold. We're probably going to get that butterfly. Look to push high ground here. Brewmaster looking for after his BKB now. The Blink Dagger. We're getting just so many items here. I mean, they've already demolished Roshan. There's an AC on Tiny. He's going to go ahead and consume the shard. So there we go. Tree Grab has no charge.
So now you can start itemizing as carry Tiny, which I like because he already went for the AC, right?
Bottom tower is under attack.
It suits him in this kind of playstyle. It also is really good for sieging high ground, by the way, which AC is also really good for. And guess what? You also have Solar Crest. So Tiny is going to be a high ground sieging machine.
Yeah, he's going to be up here in no time whatsoever. He's got Cheese ready to go. No BKB, but whoa, okay. Golem being dropped there just in. Immediately Watson fighting with the team on this one. Didn't even get off the Mana Void. That's how quickly the Shaman went down, but the buyback instantly from the LC, who did also drop, but they caught Watson.
So easy for them, honestly. Drow just literally sidestepped a bit. It was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to murder.
They went in without Dendi. He was farming bottom. He was finishing eggs.
Yeah, he had Dream Coil as well. No, sorry, he didn't have Dream Coil as well. That didn't work out. I mean, regardless though, all the Hog had to do was literally sidestep that fight. If sidestepping is what wins you a fight, then you're in a bad position. Now with Tiny, with a shard, the push to the towers is just so quick. You lost the Golem as well, so there's no way you can fight this. I mean, if they want to go high ground, I would commend them to do so. There we go.
Yeah,
Primal Split's available as well. Oh, he's been silenced, dueled as well, but they stopped the Legion Commander. Can they kill her in time? Nightmare, nice. Just trade Nightmares for a while. As Pasha decides, hey, I can actually win this duel. He still has the second charge of the split. So they're just going to manage to get this extra kill on the Legion Commander. And once the lane pushes, they'll take down the Rats.
Yeah, another big problem they have here is they can all kind of do, especially the 4 heroes that were not dueled to the 3 heroes, they could all help from range. So even though they were hit by the Fatal Bonds and maybe a worse team would have all gone in there to kill the LC, you know, within melee range, that's what would have gotten them killed. But the patience there prevails. They know that they don't really need to do anything else. They caught Dendi with the Hex. There goes TSA on the way in at the very least, trying to save Dendi. He's got buyback. He's going to need to use it instantly. TSA has already gone down as Watson at the very least able to just barely get the blink away, covered by the counter spell. We've lost the LC. That was a dieback earlier for her, so still down for 30. No fear, just
You can
forced
take
to run
3
away.
lanes.
GG.
Nothing stops you. GG. They realized. Honestly, AM just didn't work out. I'm not the biggest fan of AM this patch in general, by the way. I don't think it's the greatest pick. I thought, okay, so you picked AM, you must have a strat. Didn't really seem like it. I feel like you picked any other carry here as opposed to the AM that could fight early, and you can take advantage of your Warlock ult, of your Legion duel, of your Puck Dream Coil, and it would have been a pretty decent game. But with the choice of an AM,